What's up? Testing, testing. Let's see. It's looking. Oops. Okay. Yeah, this is anonymous. We are in control of We Are in Hell's stream. Just wanted you to know about, that we are in control now. Oops. Okay, there we go. I turned off my stream volume. What's up, everyone? How's it going? I'm anonymous here. We are in control of We Are in Hell. We Are in Hell is currently recovering from surgery, so we are now in control. Thank you, Tuesday G. I will let We Are in Hell know that you love his channel. It's no longer his. It now belongs to us. What's up on Learning Economics? I don't know, just why the mask? This is my real face, so I look in the mirror, I see a twisted mirror of reality of society. I see society's twisted reflection in the mirror every day. No, it's what's up, everyone? Haha, it was me all along. It was me, Sam. I tricked you with my clever disguise. There's no chat on the screen? Yeah, I know there's no chat on the screen. I don't know how to do that, and I don't really want to set it up. I'm just using OBS to do a pretty... Yeah. Congrats on the surgery. Thank you. I got toe surgery. I broke my toe. It sucked. I stubbed it on the side of a table. No cool story, really. I'm just so strong that I can destroy my own toe at any time, at a moment's notice. So anyway, I just got surgery on it because basically the break is like basically below essentially the knuckle on my toe, and so they didn't think it would heal on its own, so they gave me surgery. Oh, thank you, Sully. Anyway, yeah, so I just had surgery yesterday. I was awake for it. I was like very numbed and also given some something that made me feel pretty chill. I'm not sure what it was, but it was pretty fucked up. Just watching them drill a wire into my toe, which is what there is now. There's like a hook that's like this big sticking out of my toe. Which is why at some point in the stream I will at some point be taking a morphine pill. But yeah. Yeah, that's what I was going for, Yui. Anyway, missed opportunity for foot content. Oh, I think I've got the freak foot content now. But anyway, I'm going to be just streaming myself playing some frickin' Lies of P. If anyone even cares. Oops. I'm not great at this game, as I covered last time. Here's the thing. This game is very... If anyone's ever played any Souls games, this game is extremely parry heavy. Like, it's not really doable without aggressive parrying, and I'm the worst at that. So, let's see how we do. Lots of healing and love from Australia mid-heat wave. Thanks, mate. Crikey. Thank you so much. Okay, let's go to work on this freak. I don't know. This maybe wasn't the best idea for a stream because I'm not particularly good at like talking and like paying attention to chat while I'm like locked into a game like this. I'm also not particularly good at walking into a game like this, so frick. I don't know. Might switch to Belatra at some point, but we'll see. We out here. Aw, thanks so much, Yui. I hope so too. Peace out, and good luck filming. I mean, Ferret, I can relate so hard, you know? I chew on my toe and I'm very silly. You know, a silly little guy's gotta stick together. This is the best Souls game, Conrad. I don't know. My favorites are for sure Bloodborne and Elden Ring, but this is by a wide margin the best Souls like. Like, this is the best Souls game not made by FromSoft. For sure. For sure. Just started a replay of this game 2 days ago. Literally same. Yeah. What was I going to say? Oh, did anyone, I don't know if anyone's, like, that deep into, Belatra lore, where you know, like, LocalThunk is. But, did anyone see, JJ McCullough doxed LocalThunk? Does anyone know what I'm talking about here? JJ McCullough, for anyone who doesn't know, is a Canadian YouTuber. I've hung out with him. He's a very nice guy. I disagree with him on every one of his takes, but he's a lovely person. He's very frustratingly wrong in a lot of like annoying ways. But great guy, regardless. But he is not particularly interested in games at all. But he does love America. He's a Canadian YouTuber. He loves America though. Like he's like fucking like cheering right now for the day of the hockey stick. But anyway, am I Johnny Mazza? I don't know who that is, so yes. Oh, yeah. This is the best pure Souls, like, yeah. Well, you're following me, so you are following a Canadian political streamer. Anyway, yeah, JJ made a video that's about, like, how Belatra is inspired by Americana, because he loves Americana. And in it, he posted LocalThunk's real name. LocalThunk is the maker of Belatra, who is like famously extremely mysterious and doesn't like give out any of his personal information. And yeah, how do I get back here? I wish Canada was really yeah. How do you get such a based mustache? Over like I went to a protest during like COVID lockdowns, and I was living with 3 people, one of whom was immunocompromised at the time, and so I had to like isolate in my room for like a week after going to this protest because like I wasn't socially isolating. Or I wasn't. What's the word? Socially isolating. Physically, I wasn't like keeping 6 feet distance away because I was blocking cops from whatever, getting into an altercation with cops, and because of that, I had to like stay in my room for like 2 weeks, and could only come out at night like a horrible little monster that I am, and so I grew a mustache as a joke, and then because I thought it'd be funny to like come out of isolation with a mustache, and then I started filming videos with it, and I liked it, and that's how I have a based mustache. Did I ever work at 416 Snack Bar, Dialo, or PG Clucks? I swear I did a stage with you a decade ago. I have never done a stage. I don't work at I've never worked at nice enough restaurants. I worked at Big Fat Burrito for forever. And what other places did I work at? Kaplansky's. Zane's a piece of shit. And I worked at the Central, with the infamous Central. Did they take my toe? They took my toe, they put a wire in it, and they put it back on. With McCullough, thank you so much. That sounds like a cool thing to have done, the name thing. I think it was cool that I grew a mustache like that. I think that was cool that I went to protests and got into an altercation with cops, but that's just me. I did that to be cool. Oh, that's nice. That's nice of them. That they don't let guys hit you while you're, Anyway, sorry, 1 second. But yeah, JJ, docs LocalThunk. That's what I think is very funny. He does not care about this game at all. Does not give a fuck. And then he was like very resistant to censoring the name. The name is not there anymore in the video. He censored it, but it was there for a while. And he like LocalThunk was like messaging him, like being like, "Can you please not do that?" And he like, and JJ just left him on red. Are you scared about the provincial election? Yes. Well, yeah, I mean, I think Ford's going to win again because no one in Ontario really pays attention to politics, and Ford, and will just apathetically vote pro Ford. But I don't know. Maybe I think one optimistic thing I can say is I think there's a slight chance that the tariffs might make the Conservatives not win. It's very unlikely. It's still the Conservatives will almost certainly win, but the tariffs might be one thing that might actually hurt them. Oh, if you're a big Kensington rat, it's almost certainly from Big Fat Burrito. Yeah. You might also know another Kensington rat who's now making YouTube videos is Final Girl Digital, who was in my last video. But she used to work at Jimmy's. You might know her too. Whoa! Look at that! I found a secret hidden room where I get cool stuff. Final Girl Digital is dope as fuck. She's great. She does I highly recommend this channel for anyone watching. She does like feminist theory videos about movies. Her one about The Substance is dope. Her one about Lolita is like fantastic. I'm always so jealous of people who are good at doing close readings, and she's really good at that. Her one about the Swan is really good for that. Or Black Swan, sorry. Yeah, like her, like Big Joel is I think like the best close reader on YouTube. But like anyone who's able to do that kind of thing, I'm always really jealous of, and she can do it really well. There's about 75 Canadians. Yeah, there's a few. Yeah, the new cafe and roastery does scare me. I will admit that I do kind of like I get like this is like like just like a very ADHD type shit, but I get like very weird about like a certain thing. I got like into mixed drinks over lockdowns. Now I have like kind of like a bar set up behind me there that like I don't drink very much, but I do like you need a massive collection of booze if you want to be able to like make mixed drinks. And so I have that. And I've gotten into like coffee, and so as much as I don't like Kensington getting gentrified, I am like looking forward to trying out some of their coffees there because Carlos's House of Spice, which is very good for most things, is not great for getting coffee from. And I do want to get bougie coffee. I'm sorry. I am a class trader in this way. Oh yeah, I mean, generally the people who own any building in Kensington are going to get the bag so hardcore, it's insane. Um, I mean, I know the guy who owns the building that Big Fat was in is a horrible man, but he got the bag. And he would like come in like basically like brag to us about how he was going to sell the place and secure the bag, and it's like I don't care, man. Oh Jesus, $10 for an iced coffee is insane. Anyway, this is a pretty easy little boss we got here. So this is fun. Ooh, shocked me. Okay. Got a bit too cocky there. Oh, there we go. Ugh. I'm getting greedy in this. It's purely in the sense that like I want this fight not to take a fucking hour. It's not like it doesn't really get hard. It just gets like tedious. Come on. What kind of bag is it? It's a big bag of money, is what we're talking about here. The owners in the of the buildings in this area of Toronto called Kensington Market. That's like a cool hipster area, that hippie slash hipster area. I don't get these video games. You don't? I mean, in this case, I'm kind of just playing, like, so this is optional fight that I'm just doing where I'm just killing a giant robot because it'll give me money so I can level my character up. But, I don't know, it's just, it's a Soulsy type, Dark Souls inspired game where you, fight stuff that's really hard. Oops. Fuck. Sorry, I'll be done with this guy pretty soon, and then I can talk a bit more. I used to be so... Oh, yeah. Sorry, Somewhat Produce. I always went to the one on Kensington Avenue. I used to live there. Like, I used to live, like, less than a, ooh. Oh, no! I used to live, like, on the block of, like, Kensington Produce, so I went there all the time. Okay, now I actually have to be careful. Sorry. Dang it. That's so annoying. Damn. It's okay. I'm an old. What game is this? This game is Wise of P. Oh, above the cheese. Oh, hell yeah. How are you seeing Toronto's DIY and alternative art scenes changing in recent years? I don't know. I'm not particularly involved in that. I mean, I've worked at like a concert venue, the Central, which for any Toronto person is pretty bad, owned by a horrible man. And then if you're asking because I had like a Toronto punk band, my last video, it's the drummer for that band is my old roommate, is why they were in there. I'm not at Houndstooth every week, although I do love that place. Sorry if I'm disappointing anyone with that. Hipsters are just hippies with money. I don't know if I agree with that. I think that there's some like key differences between hipster culture and hippie culture, but hey, to each their own. I don't know. Let's see what's in here. Ooh, yeah. That's good. That's a really strong weapon. And now I'm gonna kill this guy. Let's kill this dude. So I don't know if my commentary is that useful here. It's a relatively old game, and I think most people can kind of glean the dynamics here. I'm trying to stagger him, so if I use a heavier attack, he loses his posture faster, which means that I can use my like special attack where, yeah. You can also see on his the health gauge at the bottom there that he gains his health back unless I do a big attack. Shit. Well. This make me think of your first Mega Man game where all the bosses are the first Mega Man game. Word. Ooh. Fuck. Let's see. Fuck. Dang it. Missed my chance. Anyway, yeah, what else is going on? Tariffs are fucked, eh? We'll worry worried about that, gonna be honest. The most insane shit is, like, you'll see Canadians even, like, being like, yeah, well, we just need to stop sending fentanyl. Which is, dumb as shit. I think that we need to be sending way more fentanyl. I think we need to start, like, putting it in our lumber and our, putting it in our, lumber and our beef and stuff. Now's the time to ramp up fentanyl production, as far as I'm concerned. Yeah. It's pretty depressing seeing, like, yeah, Canadians, like, simping for Trump. Tariff me harder, Daddy. There we go. We got this. We got this, baby. Look at that. Oh yeah, he looks fucked. I was impressed that Ford canceled the contract with Starlink. That is, like, I was not expecting that. Like, that is kind of the bare minimum, but I was not expecting him to do the bare minimum. So that was, I mean, he's claiming that he will cancel the contract. I've seen people being like, we don't believe him. We'll believe him once he, does it, which, like, sure, be very skeptical of Ford, but it's also like, yeah, it doesn't surprise me that, like, I think it's like $100 billion dollar contract. It's like, yeah, that would take a week to tear up. That doesn't seem unbelievable to me. It's not unbelievable that Ford would lie about it, but, like, I don't know, yeah. Told Doug Ford to his face, you can't wait for me, his brother in hell. Yeah, I mean, I do hope stomach cancer is hereditary. But, Newfie's quoting Bernier, saying we need to not tariff back and just stop the fentanyl going south. Ugh, Jesus Christ. Yeah. I mean, I think we, like, I don't know, I have seen, again, this is, like, literally, like, I'll see, like, a post on Twitter with, like, 1,000 likes, and it's like, oh, yeah, people believe this, and it's like, obviously that's not how that works. But, I don't know, I have seen people more now talking about, like, how, Sun Media and, like, Post Media are owned by Americans, and so shouldn't, and that, like, we should not allow that, and, like, that's cool if that gets into, like, public discourse. Like, that would actually be amazing. Like, all the, like, newspapers, for anyone who doesn't know, like, these are, like, our conservative rags, and they're all posting about how, like, we deserve the tariffs because we've been bad to America and we need to be nice. It's like, really you're saying that, huh? American-owned corporation that is, like, in charge of a disturbing amount of our news media. I think that actually the problem might be something else, and I think it's actually, like, really cool that, like, that's a discussion that's now happening. Hopefully, at least. I don't know. Nothing ever happens. Blah blah blah. But we'll see. Oh, Rob was the better one for sure. Oh, it's so cool. Yeah, I donated 12 inches of my toe to charity for sure. Dude, I can't wait to, like, if I can get. I think this week I'm getting to talk to a doctor who's going to take a look at it. But I've Oh. 1 second, sorry. I got a call that might be from a doctor. Uh, oh fuck, sorry. I can't play that here. Um, mm, okay, I'll call them back in just a little bit, but yeah, I'm okay, but yeah. Glad you like my content though. Thank you. Anyway, okay. I mean, I will have to call them back soon, but I'm gonna be okay for now, and that's not a big deal. But that's good. That I now will get my. Let me, for anyone who hasn't been tuning in or hearing about my sagas lately. Yeah, I had to like go and let me tell you the full story of my illness. Okay, so I was yeah, it was my girlfriend's friend's birthday party. We were like rushing out the door, and I stubbed my toe and was like, "Oh, this sucks," but like it's probably not a big deal, right? I just stubbed my toe. Like I like go to the party and like I'm like limping the whole time, and but I was like, oh, it's probably nothing. Day goes by, nothing. Happen. Like the day goes by, it's still like not getting better. Next day, I'm like, okay, fuck. I'll go to the. I'll go get it checked out. I don't have a family doctor, so instead I just like went to a walk-in clinic. This is kind of funny. I like forgot. I'm dumb. I forgot my phone at home. And instead of like going back to get it, I was like, because it hurts. I'm like walking on what I later learned was a broken toe, and so I was like, fuck, this fucking sucked. I don't want to fucking have to like walk back or whatever. I'm just going to fucking tough it out, and I'll be fine. I'll just like go without my phone. Go to the waiting room. I'm like, hadn't slept much that night before either, so I like fall asleep in the waiting room. My girlfriend is like trying to get in touch with me and she can't. I'm like, she's talking about it later to her friends, and like one of her friends was like, yeah, classic dude shit, just like be off the grid. No phone. I'm passed out in a walk-in clinic wait room, and yeah, so I go there and I talk to the guy, and he's like, yeah, so it looks like you probably have a broken toe. You're gonna need x-rays. Not a long walk, just like a couple blocks over this way. Sends me. It's not a couple blocks. It's from like Bayonne College to Sherburne and Bloor. Was how far I had to walk. On a broken toe. I walk there to the oldest X-ray clinic in the world. Everything is like powered by steam and coal. Everyone there is like ancient. And yeah. Oh fuck! I have to fight this guy. Okay. I don't like that. Anyway, fuck. There we go. Here's the thing that's kind of cracked in this game is that, like, any humans are pretty easy to fight because you can just backstab them. Anyway, yeah, so I get my, surgery. Alright, sorry, I get my, x-rays, and they're like, yeah, this is broken, you need to go to an emergency room to get this taken care of. So I went home. I was like, I don't want to, I'm gonna like get like a book, I'm gonna talk to my girlfriend, I'm gonna let her know I'm alive. I've been out for like 4 hours or some shit now, and she's like freaking out. So yeah, I go to the emerge room, and then they see me. Really good. Yeah. trying to block this guy, and it's very hard. So anyway, where was I? Where was I? So yeah, I go, merge. They're like, yeah, it's very broken. And they're like, or no, so sorry, the lady at the who I talked to, who's like at the emergency room, she's kind of just like, yeah, no, just it's not a big deal, just, you know, like, cover it up, like, tape it up with medical tape and it'll be fine. That's not correct. No shade, but yeah, that's wrong. Because yeah, like I said earlier on the stream, the break is below the knuckle. So I'm like, yeah, because of that, you can't, like, because basically if you have like a broken toe, it is like pretty easy to heal it on its own. It's just that you have to immobilize it, and you can't immobilize it if it's below the thing. Yeah, so I it takes forever to get like a follow-up appointment with the fracture clinic. I finally get in, and then they're like, yeah, so you need surgery. The boot. Yeah, no, so like they're like, yeah, you need surgery for sure to get this fixed. I later like went to a follow-up appointment, and the guy was like, yeah, like, I was like waiting to hear back for surgery, no word at all. Finally hear back from like a follow-up appointment, and the guy this is a different doctor who's not a foot doctor, and so he's like, honestly, I don't know if you need surgery, because for him, he's kind of just like, yeah, like, you probably have like, he thinks that like I've got like a probably like 66% chance of it healing on its own. Other guy is a foot doctor though, which I think makes me trust him more, but also he was like, yeah, also I'm biased though because I only see people who have serious foot problems. And so my advice would be to not get a serious foot problem by getting preventive surgery. And I tend to be like, yeah, maybe that's probably a good idea. And so yeah, I got surgery. So yeah, like, literally, by the way, yeah, like, this whole story, this is Canadian healthcare, which means it's, especially in Ontario where it's been underfunded so that it can be eventually privatized, it takes a very long time, but also it means that I get, like, I did not have to pay a single dollar. I had to pay for my meds. That's it. That was the only part of this that was, like, came out of my pocket. Which is, yeah, pretty good. Not gonna lie. So, yeah. Hope, yeah, here a sling would be $350. I mean, yeah. Yeah, fight for better stuff. That'll help us too, by the way. 'Cause, like, yeah, Canadians will literally. I remember the most insane moment of this for me was I remember in like. This was like 2021 when like we had like our like worst COVID deaths. It was like winter 2021, worst COVID deaths like that we had and like and no vaccine yet or anything, and like people were Canadian politicians were like saying, well, here's what it was in Florida, and it's like as like their excuse for us having insane, horrible healthcare, or like dealing with like a public health crisis, was like, well, at least you're not in America. So like literally, Americans, like, it will help us so much when if you guys get better healthcare, because then Canadian politicians will actually have, like, Canadians will have to, like, actually improve our own. T- 10,000 per kid. That's so fucked up. It's me, Luigi. Yeah. Yeah, we need a Luigi of the left. For sure. Oh, by the way, say hello to Spider, everyone. She's on top of my computer tower. We gotta recognize the cats. Oh, hey. It's a kitty named Spider. Okay. $65 USD is pretty, yeah, that's pretty reasonable, I think. Yeah, thousand. Well, I feel like a computer is like more like $1,000 refrigerator, but she likes it because it's warm. Yes. Last ambulance ride was 17,000. I mean, ambulances are expensive here for sure. Good girl. What time is it? Okay, it's not bothering me yet, but I can now have morphine. Man, getting morphine, like any like opioids, it's like, man, it's not the drug for me, but like, oh, I get it. Everything suddenly feels soft and warm. Like, oh, I 100% can see how this could ruin someone's life. Easy, easy. BC they cost 80. Yeah, that's great. I don't know what they cost in Ontario, honestly. That's like pretty solid. That's definitely less than it costs here, but I don't know. I also am like thinking in terms of like my broke ass being like, yeah, it's like $150. Okay. Uh I think that's good. Oh, and I have enough to do more. That's perfect. Increase stagger duration, for sure. Nice. I mean, Uber is a rideshare for ambulances. That's literally what Uber is. You think people aren't using Uber to get to the hospital? Sorry. Oh, last time so 45. Okay, that's not bad. I've been. Oh, it's definitely more than it was a decade ago, Luca. Oh, with an ambulance car specifically? Why? They already can just do it, right? um, no, yeah, I get you. Man, one of the most insane things about this game, you cannot is an unlockable skill that is inaccessible until you beat the first boss to chain dodge rolls. Like, watch what I'm about to do. Wait, no, wait, here. You see how I was like, it did like 2? Wait, 1 second, I'll do it better. You see that? That's impossible to do until after you beat the first boss. Like, that is something that's like insane that they haven't changed. Like, you have to do this, and then you can do that. Until you beat the first, like, hard boss. Anyway, yeah, with rideshare ambulances is horrible, and will, I'm sure, happen. Alright, let's see what else we can do here. Let's explore this area a little bit, folks. There's a boss up pretty soon. Come on. Oop. Oops. Ooh, I made this guy shit. You see that? There we go. Brad, I graduated from uni this summer. I moved across country to BC and can't find a job, like any job. Do you think it's worth using my time to turn some of my papers into video essays for YouTube? Maybe. Like, here's the thing I will say is that, definitely do not go into this if you're like, oh yeah, this will be like a good way I can make money. Like, it's, it for a long time will not be, anything. But yeah, maybe you could do that. I would say the trick with YouTube a lot of the time is, like, you have to find a way to make your audience eat their vegetables, by which I mean in some cases it's like doable to just like get people to watch like just very like straight up educational content just because it's interesting. It tends to be very hard to do unless you have a big following and or are making shorter videos and like sort of trying to do a more basic point. By basic I mean like sort of like the first level of the research, like the sort of like thing that like everyone kind of knows, this like sort of easy version, and then there's like the more nuanced version ahead of time, which is what I imagine that you're probably doing. if like you're talking about like academic papers. And so the thing I would say is like you have to try and find a way to trick the audience into eating their vegetables here, meaning get them to be interested in this like sort of like in this sort of thing that you can use. So you can use like reality TV, for instance, is a way that you can get the audience to be interested in something that they otherwise would not have been. You can use all sorts of like little tricks and stuff. It's that is or I'm learning economics. You can use like sort of like drama. He was here earlier. I'm not just trying to talk shit, but he's like he taught people about economics by first getting them interested by correcting other YouTubers, which I don't think he would deny that he was using a little bit of drama there to get people interested in his channel, which like there's nothing wrong with doing. I'm just like saying that's what that is. And yeah, like that is I guess the advice I would give if you're gonna do that. Who would use reality TV to talk about deep topics? Yeah. I want to be a prof eventually, so I would be kind of like passion project to work on my presentation, concise delivery of my ideas, etc. Find an audience would be a bonus. Yeah, I mean, nothing wrong with that at all. Yeah, for sure. Like, I would say give it a shot. I would say, it might. I don't know if it's worth your time in the sense that like you're probably like you should go into it not expecting to see any real success and probably having to spend some money on like just like the stuff that you'll need to just get started. So like like a decent microphone or whatever. So I don't know what worth your time means, but there's nothing wrong with doing that. Like I mean I'm all for people making good content that is like educational or positive in some way. So like go nuts. Yeah. Oops. Oh yeah. My on any of my normal videos, my all my stuff is at the bottom of it. Like it'll have like my socials, and it'll also have my business email. It's just weareinhellbusiness@gmail.com. But yeah, you can send stuff over there for sure. Or like Twitter or Instagram, you can also reach me on. But it's probably best to use the business email, just so it doesn't get like lost in whatever. Yeah, I'm definitely like I would if you want your music in this video and like one of my videos, I mean I would not do that unless I was paying you. But yeah, like work out something. But yeah. What's your band or group or something? Yeah, yeah. Worst case scenario, it's a good exercise for sure. Nothing wrong with doing stuff like that. Cool. Wasn't there some sort of issue with the bovine recently, or aren't they like Zionist or something? Or interesting that you're supporting them. Oh, nice. Like the yeah. Okay. I'm about to lose to a boss. I'm not. Here's the thing. I'm gonna stubbornly refuse to do a summon, and so this is just gonna take a long time. I'm sorry if this is not very fun to watch. Hmm. Oops. Just trying to learn this and. This isn't going very well. What are his attacks? Okay. Oh. Oh, Jesus. That's a rad one. Let's see. There we go. Nice. Okay. I don't have a ton of criticisms of this game. I think it's overall extremely good. One is that every boss has has two parts, which I think is really annoying. Oops. You finally got the transition surgery. Okay. I do know, like, there have been some, like, insane, like, I know with the Horseshoe Tavern, there was, like, that was some very weird, like, so they were, like, accused of being, like, Zionists and stuff, and basically what happened was that they, like, got, like, insane threats from, like, Zionists, and were, like, you know, like, or no, so, like, I think there's, like, some, like, Palestinian, like, protests against them, and then they're like, oh, yeah, okay, cool, and then, like, Zionists start saying them, like, bomb threats, too, and they're like, okay, well, fuck, and, you know, damned if they do, damned if they don't sort of situation, and, yeah. Here, I'm just gonna, I'm almost at a level up, so I'm just gonna do that, and then I'm going to finish this, keep going on this boss, but... You feeling alright? I'm feeling pretty good. Oh, congratulations, Becca. Nice. I got mine yesterday. It's like I had much more minor surgery than you, so I'm not trying to steal any valor here, but I am literally the bravest person in the world. I did literally watch them drill a wire into my toe, which I think does take some bravery. So I am a hero for that, but yeah, that's sick. Congratulations. Love Fashion Souls, yeah. I do love with this game, there's a lot of quality of life things that they do in this that Souls games don't generally do, which I really appreciate. One is that when you die in a boss fight, all your, like, souls just respawn directly outside of the boss arena, which is really nice of them. I also, yeah, appreciate that, like, in the lore of this game, like, you're a puppet, which is like a robot, and so you can, like, change your stats through items that, like, affect you, but then your, like, clothing doesn't matter at all for your stats and doesn't, like, contribute to, like, weight or anything, and so, like, you can just literally, like, wear whatever stuff you want and still, like, get the best stats and customize everything with however you want, which, like, is pretty nice, I think. What state did y'all grow up in? Ontario. What's the best thing you've seen at the Kensington Market Solstice Parade? I don't know, like some, like, puppets and shit. I'm not a big solstice goer. I'll be real with you here. I'm not a big solstice goer for sure, but I do like I don't know. I lived in Kensington Market for a while, which makes you pretty quickly start to be like, oh, I liked living right nearby the market. I don't like living in the market. You know, like just having like a couple pedestrian Sundays go by your window is pretty annoying. Um, I'm gonna go with technique. I wanna, because I can now. I think I can use a technique crank to make this even better. Oh, okay. Oh, I have a motivity. Oh, but I can't make it. Okay. Uh, what do they say about the potatoes in Prince Edward Island? That they're really good. Yeah. The city. Yeah. The Toronto food is very good. I mean, I think that you're in Vancouver, or you said, or BC. Like their seafood is insane. Like Toronto, I feel like Toronto's thing is that like we have just like very good like restaurants. We don't have any food that's like this is the like Toronto food that's like amazing. You know, it's just that you can get any type of food here really good. Like it's not like Montreal like has like stuff you can only get in like good in Montreal. You know, like you can only get like their like bagels or their smoked meat or their like poutine as good as it is like in Montreal there. But but then like a lot of their other stuff, they don't have as many other just random good restaurants. Um, and yeah, Vancouver's or is that's the only that's the only place in BC I've been, and I keep saying Vancouver. I don't know if you said you were in Vancouver or just BC in general, but their seafood's crazy. That is like delicious. But yeah, what up, big dog? Just chilling, and I'm just losing to this boss. Toronto shawarma, yeah, yeah, Toronto has good shawarma for sure. Um, Montreal has decent shawarma, honestly. Like Montreal, yeah, like surprisingly good for Lebanese food, but I don't know if that's just like I've just like had like drunk shawarma there a lot, but like yeah. Um, well, that's kind of a W not having a Chipotle, but I get what you mean. I like how he like has his like goofy little walk, like he's like excited to see me. Oops, I got one block there. Also, sorry, my mic is leaning up against my chair, so I think I may have made a bad sound there. Sorry if that was annoying. Oops. Oops. Fuck, that's such an annoying one to dodge. Nice. Oof. Okay, that's annoying. Ooh. I guess it's dodged the other way as the thing. Oops. Fuck. Fuck. Is there like a weird specific food dish? I don't think that there is. I genuinely think that like Toronto doesn't really so much have like a weird specific. This is the Toronto thing. It's just that you can get anything. You know. That said, some Toronto creations are Hawaiian pizza and sushi pizza. We are the place for if you want a type of pizza that's gonna make people angry, you come to Toronto. So we got that. That's pretty cool. Yeah, exactly. There's like certain places that like any Torontonian will like be like, oh yeah, you gotta go to Fresca Pizza, right? But yeah, oh yeah, you gotta get a beef patty in the Subway. But I feel like that's not even like a purely Toronto thing. Like I think that like you're telling me you can't get that in New York? There we go. We finally dodged it. This is one that you have to dodge right, I think. Nice. Okay. You can do that. Frick. I like that dodging gets rid of overheat. That's a really neat touch. Stop, drop, and roll. I think that's a really good way of teaching fire safety. You know? I think that's really cool of them. Ah, oh, fuck! Hey, Bloodborne called. They want their flame spitter back. Am I right, folks? Who here's beating the blood-starved beast that way? Huh? Huh? Don't tell me I'm alone or I'll get scared. Fuck. That's so fucking annoying. Like giving a boss like just like a huge ranged attack is such bullshit. Yeah, I guess it's not the only game that does that, but that's still fun. Uh oh my god, there's a lot of Japanese French fusion. I mean, just like fusion in general. That's my definition of like white people food. I think it's not like boiled cabbage or something. It's or like hot dogs. It's lazy fusion dishes. It's like two cultures with nothing in common. It doesn't make any sense why you're putting these foods together, but you're just doing it so that it's just like I used to work at Fresh, and they had it was like a Israeli rice bowl that's like rice, hummus, and rice slash soba noodles, hummus, like uh, roasted cauliflower, and then Italian salad dressing. And it's like that's like not that doesn't really make any sense, and honestly, borderline problematic to be like, yeah, here's a Jewish dish with like Japanese and Italian stuff on it. It's also like I don't know, it's so annoying with like so like Fresh is for the non-Torontonians is a vegan restaurant, and it's like the epitome of like what I hate with a lot of like vegan food, because like I get that vegans like just miss like eating like meat dishes sometimes, and so like want like a burger or whatever. Like I don't know, I'm not trying to do like the lazy like joke about like oh like eat like like commit to the thing or whatever. But at the same time, I think it leads to a lot of really lazy restaurants. Like there's so many. If you're not doing meat, you could actually do so many cool types of food that like aren't just like veggies, starch, big thing of protein. You know what I mean? Like you could, there's so many different like cuisines that you could be using to create like an interesting dish, and instead it's just fucking the same bullshit. Oh my god, faux hung is my like one of my favorite. I can grab it maybe in a little bit. I have a picture of faux hung in my actually yeah, I'm gonna go up. I gotta go grab a couple things, so I'll be right back. But I'll bring my faux hung picture. 1 second. I forget the name of the artist, but yeah, this is my favorite pho place. Okay, that hurt a lot. Walking around has convinced me that I do indeed uh, get a little bit of morphine. um, I feel like eating vegan dishes that are meant to like recreate meals with meat would just make you want to eat meat more. Maybe if you're just quitting, but I think like I've definitely known lots of like long time vegans who are just like, yeah, sometimes I miss eating a burger, so I want something that like tastes like a burger because like and I think that that's very fair. Um, but yeah, there is Saigon Lotus is, by the way, one of the craziest pho places in Toronto. It's vegan, and like their broth is one of the best pho broths in the city. Not even giving them an asterisk for the fact that it's vegan. Like it's there. That place is so dope. I'm not as big a fan of their sandwiches, but I know a lot of people who are. What else did I miss? My vegetarian girlfriend really liked French and really misses it here on Vancouver Island. I like that she could order everything on the menu and felt included. Oh, you like fresh? Sorry, yeah. I'm not trying to talk shit. I'll talk shit about fresh. I won't talk shit about and people who like it. I get it totally. My thing with fresh is like, and so, credit where credit's due. They're the only restaurant I've ever worked at where they gave us like health benefits. Like I fucked up my hand working there because I'd just be like cutting shit all day, and so like I developed trigger finger in my pinky, and like I need physio, and they paid for that, which was insane. Like they have dental plan and shit. But yeah, I don't like that restaurant based on the fact that they like so like they fired all of their staff at the start of like laid everyone off over an Instagram post. That's how I found out that I was unemployed. I was a assistant kitchen manager there, and that's how I found out I lost my job. And then I made a big post about it on Instagram that like this is like before I had any real following on YouTube. This is just like on my like personal account, and like being like, yeah, it's fucked up that they would do this shit. And so they didn't hire me back. They hired back everyone else but me, which wound up being literally one of the best things that could ever happen to me, because then I went on Serb and made my YouTube channel, and that, like I had the time off to like make my YouTube channel really grow. It before that just sort of been a hobby, and then that took off, and then now I have this job. So it was good in the long run, but yeah, it's pretty shitty of them. And yeah, they also like, I don't know, there's just like lots of like shitty stuff. It's like owned by like, it's like very like corporate. I remember someone from corporate came in one day to like look at the restaurant, and like Fresh, it's this vegan restaurant I worked at, it was by a wide margin the most like queer workplace I've ever been in. Like it's the only place I've ever worked where I was in the vast minority as a cishet man. Like most people there were like some form of like of queer, lots of women. Anyway, the point is, over top of the bar they had two flags. One is the pride flag, the other is the Israeli flag, because they're huge Zionists who own it. And person from corporate sees that there's these two flags and goes, hey, why is there a pride flag up there? It's not June, take it down. So yeah, I don't like. I'm not a fan of Fresh. I think that they're pretty fucked. Love Starbucks but salad. Yeah, kind of. Yeah, like I'm not gonna say it's not. Like they don't have some good food. Like their stew, if you ever had that shit was insanely good. I'm not gonna like their Buddha sauce is pretty solid. They had a really good mushroom gravy for their like poutine. Nothing against the food there. I like a lot of their smoothies too. But yeah, no, I don't like them that's a bad company, I would say. And there is just better like vegan food in the city. But yeah. I don't know what you heard, but yeah. They're pretty yeah, this place I used to work was pretty bad. Oh, perpetual stew is the food of the few. Oh, their stew was like what they called the stew. It was like a chickpea stew, sort of like a soup essentially, with like chickpeas in it, and it had this like half a baguette cut like long ways, and it would be grilled and put on top of a bowl. And so like you had to like, it was such a pain in the ass to serve. People would like servers had to like walk out balancing this like croissant, or sorry, not croissant, baguette on top of it, like cut in half long, and such a pain in the ass. It was so good. Like if you ever ordered it, like it was delicious, because there's like half a can of like coconut cream, and it's like basically a third of it was coconut cream. It was delicious. It's so bad for you though. And anyway, yeah. What was I gonna say also? Yeah, I don't know. Fuck Fresh. Someone else said something. Someone else was asking about sushi pizza. Sushi pizza is pretty tasty. What it is it's like it's basically like a small puck like this big of fried like rice. Like it's like a like puck of rice covered in like panko, deep fried, and then put like mayo on top, and then pieces of like sort of like triangular pieces of raw fish on top of it, maybe with like the like flying fish roe on top of that. Various garnishes depending on where you're going and how fancy it is cut up. It's like it's like an appetizer at like a lot of like sushi places here in Toronto. It's pretty tasty. But I get why it like is viscerally upsetting when people hear sushi pizza. Fuck me. Well, whatever. Can he win? No, but I'm gonna lose this for sure. But let's see if I can like just make a bit of progress in terms of like internalizing the enemy's patterns. Yeah, this boss you have to dodge to the right. And that one's easy to parry, I think. Well, I still didn't do it very well, but whatever. That one's annoying. Yeah, the delay on that is really brutal. Hmm. Sorry, I'm not really paying close attention to the chat right now. I'm trying to just. Fuck me. Alright, what did I miss? What's your opinion on Souls-like games? Use the columns to block his attacks. I think I can just use myself, but. Oh, sushi burrito is bad. Yeah, I don't like that. Oh, thanks so much, Scott. Yeah, I try and put a lot of work in. I'm working on one that I'm trying to get back to videos every month, which is hard to do because I don't know if you followed that much of like when I've talked about trying to get more into like less just criticizing bad stuff and making artsy stuff of my own is what I'm now trying to do, which takes a lot longer. I'm trying to do less of those, a bit more of like just some like here's me talking about some trash, maybe a little bit more now just so I can pay my bills. But yeah, thank you, I appreciate that. Aw, those are your that's crazy to hear. Thank you. Okay, that's even better that I got you into 100 gex. It's here's the thing, like when you start doing a video where it's like, oh, like I'm just going to like hate on stuff, half of it's written already for me. Like I started watching I did a live show here in Toronto where I was like I talked about Mr. Beast's reality show, and like as soon as I started like writing jokes about it, it was like my old muscle just like clicked immediately and like turn on, and it's just like, oh yeah, that's like half the video's written. Like this is the thing. It's very it has made me realize just how like useless like and lame like a debunking video is, because it's like anyone can fact check. It's like actually like the hard part is actually coming up with something to begin with, you know. So that's much more what I try to do. My like big awakening was there's like a Jacob Geller video where he at one point describes all of his videos as his art. I think it's his one about like climate change, and um, he describes all of his old video like all of his videos as the art that he makes, and that was sort of this like big aha moment for me where I was like, yeah, like I don't know, like I've said this a bunch of times before on this channel, by the way, but I'm like, yeah, like I have a very broad definition of art. I think that the only way that you can like really have a correct definition of art that won't immediately get disproven is by having like the broadest one possible. But at the same time, I was like, yeah, like I would say like my definition of art is anything that is I think it has to be made by a human, and I think that it has to someone has to believe that it is art. Is my definition of art. Sorry, last thing is that it also can't be made by me. If it's made by me, then it's garbage. But yeah, like I was like watched that Jacob Geller video, and I was like, damn, like what video of mine? What like I don't have any videos that I would proudly call my art, and I wanted to make videos that I would call that, and so that's why I started making artsy fartsy bullshit as a result. And I'm glad I have, and I like doing that stuff, but I also want to pay the bills. It's also like it's fun to be silly every once in a while. It's boring always just having to be like super serious, you know? Anything I'll make, yeah. No, that Area 51 video is my artiest video, and it's the best thing I've ever made. Like, that is 100% art, and I am incredibly proud of that and want to make more stuff like that. However, doing that takes months, and I don't want to take like 3 to 4 months for every video. Well, I mean, I'd love to if I could. It's just not economically sustainable for me. Nor is it good for like my channel growth. So I don't know. I'm about to go back a little bit into my like slop era, or at least I'll at least go into like a sort of like 2 for them, 1 for me type of model, where every once in a while I'll like be dropping a artsy video, but I am also just going to have to pay my bills, and to do that I will be making some slop too. I would love it if you sent me your comic book. Yeah, yeah, Breezy. Send it. Weirinhellbusiness at gmail.com. If you want, you can copy and paste it out. Like in any of my other non-live stream videos, I have like all my contact information in the description. You can feel free to send it to me, Twitter, Instagram, or email it. But yeah, I'd love to see that. That'd be awesome. Can't be H Bomber Guy. I mean, everyone would love to be H Bomber Guy. I remember I've seen people complain about like, oh yeah, all these video people are like only releasing 1 video a year and it's like 2 hours long. It's like, yeah, that is literally the dream. That is what every one of us wants to do. Canada's I mean, Canada's okay. I think Canada's very similar to the UK. Canada's similar to the UK, except like we have like bad architecture and like less cool accents. If I'm being honest, my most embarrassing take is that I think the British accent sounds cool and classy. This is purely like imperialist propaganda, and I fully am like, yeah, no, I've fallen for it. It's quite sad, really. Hey, what's up, Yui? Someone said, do you have a day job or is just Epic on YouTube? If you mean H Bomber Guy, yeah, he's just like, look at his Patreon. He makes like so much. I think he makes like 10,000 a month on Patreon, like probably more than that. No, it's objectively better, your accent. See, this is the thing. Classic imperialist here, trying to convince us. Don't believe his lies. Just trying to get enough that I can do a level up. No, I appreciate it so much. Yeah. Um, what's the worst dating reality TV? Like most boring besides MILF Mansion. MILF Manor. Okay, first of all, get that right. Most worst dating reality show. I don't know. Date and Related's really bad. That's also anytime anyone asks me like what I think would be the funniest reality show to go on, my answer is always Dated and Related. That's I think that'd be very funny. Hmm. Um, honestly, here, you know what? I might take a short break and then, but we can also check out. I've shown the Hito Shrill video all the time on here. My two art goats are Hito Shrill and Trevor Paglen. Trevor Paglen has like a great speech on uh, sort of his take on dead internet theory. It was like a vague influence on my dead internet theory video, but it's very good. We can watch that later on, and like I can maybe do a bit of content theft slash like reaction to it. Um, Ever get into the really morally wrong genre of reality TV? A little bit, not that deeply. Just because, like, I don't know, I don't want. That's not something I'm gonna have something very interesting to add to it. Like, I fucking hate when YouTubers just like do like a video where it's just like, yeah, this is actually really fucked up and problematic, and it's like, yes, you're right, but like, are you adding anything to the conversation by saying that? Like, are you like teaching people something new here, or are you just like saying thing bad? Because if you're just saying thing bad, that's boring and useless, in my opinion. Um, yeah. So I haven't done that. But one thing I can say about the like gross problematic thing. So my girlfriend had pica as a child, which is the thing where you eat like weird shit. Like she would eat like chalk and stuff, and so she was in like a lot of like Facebook groups that are like Pika support groups, and I'm not sure if it's pronounced Pika or Pika. She's used both, and I'm not really sure what the correct one is. I'm just gonna say Pika, but she's been in, like a bunch of like Pika support group, like Facebook groups, and there would always be this problem where reality TV producers would try and infiltrate it and try and get people to be on like My Strange Addiction. That's pretty fucked up, eh? Isn't that crazy? Anyways, please like and sub. I don't even mean that. I just mean like the type of shit where it's like actually saying this kind of thing is very problematic, and that's not cool, kids. And it's like, who is this for? Anyone who is watching this by now agrees with like anything that you would say. Like you're not like reaching anyone who's like new, and you're not saying and like you're not saying anything that anyone who doesn't like you're not teaching anyone who agrees with everything that you're saying something new either, you know. Like I'm not saying like it's wrong to like make stuff that's like obviously for a very insular community of people who already agree with you. Like I think that you can make better art if you actually are talking to people who you don't have to like debate every single small point with. But it's like if you're doing that, tell them something new. Don't just say this thing or that they like. Racism's bad. Like it's like teach people something then. Or try if you're going to just try and convince people that like racism or ableism or whatever bad, then actually try and make it approachable to someone who doesn't already completely agree with you. You know, like you have to do one or the other, is my opinion. Freakonomics bad. I mean, I think Freakonomics bad is like a worthwhile take. Like I'm talking about ex social issue bad type stuff. But yeah. Brought to you by War Thunder, yeah. Uh, Take care, Brett. Good luck on make some sociology videos if you ever feel like it. Like feel free to try and get in touch with me. I'll try and share it. Trevor Paglen is unbelievably based, yeah. Um, Yeah, uh, yeah, blast damage. Mm, yeah. Oh my god, don't get me started on like infographic carousels. Yeah, I don't know. I've been seeing a fair amount of that on like just like my personal Instagram of I don't know, like it's so depressing about like with like Trump stuff now, like where like I'm seeing like these infographics and it's like yeah, you're dealing with people who are like will openly and proudly call themselves fascists or racists or whatever. Like, I don't know if there's much point in saying actually saying kill all Muslims or whatever is actually really is really like offensive. It's like they know that's and like I don't know. It's so depressing to see. Trying to get the hang for dodging this guy. I've learned go to the right. Fuck. And I've learned to sometimes expect that to hit 3 times. And I've learned that I just died. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, for blast damage. So you might appreciate this a bit more if you know a lot of Trevor Paglen stuff, but I've gotten the most deranged shit I ever get is like I had like a stalker once and like they were like convinced that I worked for the CIA. And it was so funny. They were like posting like, how else could he put out one video a month that's such high quality if he wasn't getting backed by the American government? And like, it's just Vyvanse and very little sleep, my dude. That's it. But um, yeah, like I've had a couple times people like accuse me of working for like the CIA, and so now I started like putting a couple Easter eggs in every couple of videos. So like for my dead internet video, I'm wearing a couple of like government like psyop patches. Yeah, most complimentary stalker ever. But I'm wearing "You've just been fucked by psyops" patch, which is the unofficial motto of the U.S. government's like psyops division is "You've just been fucked by psyops because physical wounds heal." I also am wearing the Ghost Squadron 29th Ghost Army 23rd Division, which is the patch for the Ghost Army was the World War One psyops division too, and no one's noticed. I also there's like a thing where I like in my uh you're a true leftist. How can you be so handsome without expensive plastic surgery and personal trainer? Yeah, exactly. Um, yeah, in my Love Is Blind video, there's a part where I have like my green screen behind me, and I sort of like bang the green screen, and like static appears, and like it like to switch what the background is, and like there's like one frame, like there's like 1 or 2 frames where it's like Langley, like the CIA's headquarters, is like the background behind me before it goes to like something else. No one's noticed, but I like that kind of stuff. I don't know. That is also like potentially that's my next art video is going to be about is going to be I mean it's going to be a way of talking about AI stuff, but I'm going to be doing it by focusing on the connection between AI companies and the U.S. military and like other militaries, like the Israeli military. So that'll be fun. Because I feel like I like my dead internet video a lot. I think I did like a really good job with that. But I also didn't. It's more like internet history than it is like actually discussing AI. In like I do a bit, but it's not as like as much as I'd like to. And I think that there's like something really interesting to talk about with it. there's a podcast I listen to that it's, the host is Joshua Citarella, who's great. He has a great YouTube channel where he like interviews people. It's called Doom Scroll. Highly recommend Doom Scroll. But he at one point in his podcast, I remember him saying that the Instagram essentially made all art pictures. And he argues that now AI has made all art training data. I think that's like a really interesting sort of idea to explore, that I could, by having like an interesting way of talking about the AI industry, by like its connections to it's very worrying connections to the military of various countries, including America, but also while being able to like explore that issue a lot. Let's go. Oh fuck. There. We got this. How we feeling here? Oops. Let's go, baby. Thank you. Yes, surgery good. Fuck. That was bad. Fuck. Ah. Oh, I haven't yet. I've been reading New Dark Age, which is so good. I forget the author of that book, but it's a fantastic book. Mm. Uh. Oh yeah, thank you. Muzzleization of Marvelization. Oh yeah, I see. One day you'll get accused of being a CIA plant. Um. Oh yeah, no, I'm doing. It was very minor surgery. Like it was done in like half an hour, and yeah. My toe hurts like a bitch. Like I can't fucking walk much. But like sitting down, I'm fine. I'm also getting a little zooted on some morphine. So, yeah, that's a thing too. Let's see how we can do this. I need to get good at the... Not bad. I'm getting better at this. Yeah, did you see that? Oh, okay. Oh. Nice. Oop. That one's really hard to get the right distance for, I find. It's also, I'm being greedy there. Hmm. Okay, that's the one that, if he does the, like, little thing. Oh my god. You cited my Area 51 video in your grad course? That's sick. I mean, you should probably more cite Blank Spots on the Map, which is Trevor Paglen's book. That was my main source for it. But I love, as much as this sucks right now, I love the mechanism that they use for healing, where like you have to deal damage to get your uh, like healing back. So like you like wind up having, oh fuck me, really? I didn't think I would be that. It had that much range. Okay, good. Yeah, I think that there's like I don't think it's overall the best the way that H bomb went at, like I sorry, I don't, nothing against H bomb how he like did talked about it in his video, but I think that it will inspire, or I was worried it would inspire more people to like go after people for minor citation issues. Um because yeah, like I feel like, I don't know. I think that like a lot of people, how do I want to put this? I think that some of the like citation stuff that you went after Illuminati for was honestly kind of silly. Like, not like her like like saying like using that documentary and not even like really properly citing it, but like him going after her for like using Wikipedia instead of like the like specific sources and like it was like, if I remember correctly, like he went after her for like going like saying like using Wikipedia for like basic autobiographical details about someone, and it's like, yeah, I do that all the time, of course. Like that's it'd be silly not to, and like I don't think like finding out someone's birthday I need to like cite their like which journalist discovered that. Like I think that that's actually like fine and like a perfectly valid use of Wikipedia. And I don't know. I've been, I don't like the idea of like people getting like super like, oh, we're going to take everyone down for this and like be like content cops like that. Although I don't know if that really happened. That was my fear when it first came out. Like, there's a lot of reasons to go after Illuminati, to be clear. Like, it seems like she was, like, a massive piece of shit and, like, did all this horrible shit to, like, the people she used to work with. But, like, I feel like the plagiarism stuff is honestly the, like, least bad stuff that she has done. You know, it's like, I can forgive her, publishing the suicide note of someone who she was a piece of shit to, but I draw the line at plagiarism. mm. You had top surgery in the buzz you had from the, yeah. I was saying earlier, I like, um from long years of undiagnosed ADHD, really like uppers, from self medicating, and so like pain meds aren't my drug, but they're also like as soon like as I broke my elbow a long time ago, and I had like, I don't know if you can see the scar there. This is 2 surgeries, but I got doored. Um, but yeah, like the pain meds, I was like, this is not my drug, but like I get it. Yeah, this feels great. Sorry, one sec. I'll I will surely die quickly here, and then I'll be more reading the comments. Let's see. Okay, so I can't hit there. Congrats on the surgery. Wishing you speedy recovery. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Like I said, I was the bravest boy in the world. Let's go. Oh, yeah, we got him. Oh, fuck. Didn't stay staggered long enough. This is... That one's bullshit. I guess I have to just get to the full other side of the arena. I am being greedy by, like, trying to get in hits while he's transforming. Come on. Oh my god. Actually brutal. Like, holy shit. Like, that's like, takes up like half the arena immediately. Come on. Okay. um yeah, have I seen all the trade war stuff? Yes. I think probably, if you're not Canadian, I've probably seen a lot more than you. But yeah, like yeah, I'm following it a lot, just in terms of how it's fucking up Canada. I shouldn't have assumed you're not Canadian. I'm sorry. We're all Canadian now. But yeah, it's pretty bad. Pretty worried about it. I think that, yeah, like, I mean, I've definitely seen also just like, yeah, so many Canadians now, like, or just people. I don't know. I don't know what to say about it. I haven't already said it. I'm pretty worried that my country is fucked. Is going to become more of a vassal state for the U.S. I Thank you. Yeah, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I think that, like, we'll see what happens in terms of like federal politics. I think that in terms of provincial politics, I think Ford is surprisingly good at photo ops, and like he was with COVID, he was like very good at sort of presenting himself as like sort of like the nice, reasonable Uncle Dougie. Um, and even though he was like just doing absolute garbage during COVID, but like he seemed comforting, and like did like regular TV appearances where he's, you know, just showing his like family meals and shit, or like showing like his like recipes for like treats or whatever. And I think that he's kind of trying to do the same thing. I mean, like, I think every Canadian politician is going to be doing the same move, which is promising to do the thing that they were already going to do, but this time now claiming that it's going to help fight tariffs. Um, which like Ford is now claiming that building or that repaving the Gardner Expressway is going to fight tariffs somehow, which I don't think it is. I think that's just what he already wanted to do so he could give money to his rich developer friends. But yeah, so I don't think that's good. And I think that he will, unfortunately, probably win again, which is really upsetting. But federally, I do honestly think that some of the Polyev stuff might actually hurt him, that he's like so friendly towards Trump when, yeah. So we'll see. I mean, I don't really see the, like, liberals having any real chance. Or obviously not the NDP, but we'll see if that maybe might be a difference between a majority and a minority. That was good. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Come on. There we go. What would I do if a seagull entered my home? Get the guns. For sure. That's crazy that this takes up like 2/3 of the arena. Sorry. Did you see that? Like, fuck. That one's tough. Okay. That does help block. Oh, fuck me. Yeah, I'm dead. Quebec independence will save us. I mean, a lot of people have brought up the idea of Canada joining the EU. I would love that for sure. I don't think that that's particularly likely, but like would be based as fuck. Yeah. I haven't really talked about that much this stream, but yeah, I think that Canada's going to go very right wing, like most other places are. I think that yeah, like unfortunately, I think that liberals are will continue to fail and be replaced by like conservative populists. And yeah, I think that that's happening kind of all over, and it's pretty brutal. I don't think we'll go as far right as the U.S., but I do think that that's what's likely to happen. Yeah. My son says Canadian, and I keep making jokes about using my kids as anchor baby. I mean, I don't think that it's going to be that much better here, really. Like, that's the sad thing, is that, like, I don't think that it's going to, yeah. Like, I don't think that we'll be as far gone. Like, I mean, like, the stuff that is, like, just very blatantly, like, project, like, I feel like it's, like, at this point we can all, like, say, like, with, like, the states that, like, Project 2025 was completely real, and like very obviously, like, I mean, we knew this like during the election that it was all lies, that they were like, oh, we've no idea what you're talking about, but it's like they are just openly doing that. And like it's, I mean, I don't think that Canada's going to go that far, but like who knows. It's pretty dark. Fuck. Yeah, did people see the CDC thing now, where they like released a message saying how like they will like censor words like cisgender, sign male or female at birth, trans, gender, transgender, like any reference to like trans people in like any scientific work that is published or like that is going to be published. Because that's real fucked up. Okay. Fuck. Yeah. A bunch of pages on there say about birth control, HIV. Yeah, it's just so much. Yeah. Oh my god. Yeah. I mean, there's so many people who are just yeah. It's fucking dark. I kind of have in I made a video about I came about as close to it as I would really feel like doing. Maybe I could, but do something more. But I do already have that in my video about a glass blowing reality show called Blown Away. That one is low key about Canadian identity. Um, but yeah, that's kind of what I would like. I don't know what I do think is interesting that might be worth talking about is that I think that like one way that you can like what Canada is, I think, an interesting case study in is the idea of like I think that a big part of what colonialism is the annihilation of culture. And like when I say that, I don't just mean like indigenous culture, but like it is, you cannot really have culture without like through like I would say that any place that has like any type of culture, it emerged not like it. I'm not sure exactly how I'm trying to what I'm trying to say or how I want to phrase this. Yeah, I guess I'm not sure how to phrase this exactly. But like so just to back up a bit, I guess. Like I studied English and sociology in my in school, and one of the things that you have to study in if you're doing an English degree in Canada is that you have to do a Canadian Lit course, and the thing that you learn very quickly in any Canadian Lit course is that Canada has like, and this is something that like will be like told to you by your professor, is that, like Canada is like renowned as having one of the worst literary canons of any country. Like it's like horrible. Like because like a big part of it is just you just have to read the diaries of colonists. That is a big chunk of our literary identity, is reading the diary of Susanna Moody, and Catherine and her sister Catherine Partrail, and it's just garbage and it's dog shit. And like a big part of our like Canadian literature is literally just writing back to England, which means like rewriting famous poems so that they're about Canada. And yeah, like I would argue that like that is sort of the function of colonialism. That like America, for all like you can criticize it for, but like I don't know if I would really call America anti-colonialist, but they did have a war of independence, which is, I would argue, why there is a culture there, where I don't really think that there is one in Canada. Uh, yeah, yeah. I'm yeah hoping that makes sense. Also, let me just see if I have anything that makes me stronger. So that's already equipped. Okay. Flame resistance. That's good. Okay. Okay. Yeah, led to a lot of gun culture for sure. So no Hamilton. Oh, I literally thought you meant the city named Hamilton. Yeah. Yeah, I wasn't planning on going to the Hammer. Although, arguably, that is pretty Canadian culture. Fuck. There we go. The goal is to get good at doing those perfect blocks. Oh, that broke me. Huh. Nice. Yeah. Does anyone know? The poem that I was bringing up is Do you know there's a who wrote the poem about like nightingales? The Nightingale poem. It's like a famous British poem. Famous British poem about nightingales. Um, there is a Canadian rewrite of that is about bullfrogs. And then you can even look at like our like more contemporary literature, which is a lot of it is about writing back to those colonists then, and like sort of struggling with this like concept of like, well, this is like they're bullshit like colonists and stuff, and like it's like literally like it's like insulting them and like being like, oh yeah, fuck you, you piece of shit. But at the same time, it is like kind of contending with this issue of like, okay, well, even if you're saying like they're calling them pieces of shit, you're still engaging with that, and that's sort of, I guess, all that we have for a culture, which is not great. Oh fuck. All right. Yeah, Keats. Yeah, Ode to the Nightingale. To a Nightingale. Yeah, that makes sense. That are those sirens for you saying Canada doesn't have a cultural identity? I know what you mean by the sirens, but yeah, I would say that Canada does not really have its own cultural identity. For even like more evidence of that, like look at what our entertainment industry is like. So like the Canadian government like largely subsidizes a lot of like our entertainment industry. What this means is essentially that there is like a basically a checklist of things that you can do so that the government effectively pays for everything about like a production getting made. Parts of these include, you know, like having a like certain amount of diversity, having like a woman or like a woman involved in like the production, or like a gay person or indigenous person or whatever. And like I feel like that's not doesn't work out the best. Like I think that those things are well intentioned, but like I can also say from like I know people who like are making shows, and like there are just people who literally are like I think that the better way of doing that is like fostering good, like doing programs that foster the creation of like more like talent from people other than like cishet white men, rather than just like creating a quota system, because what that does in practice is that there are people who like literally just get jobs in high positions that don't really do anything but like where they don't really do much beyond just have their name on a thing so that the production gets a massive write-off, like doesn't have to pay as much. And um so that's like a thing, and that's like not like that's literally it just you create tokenism by doing that, rather than like creating programs that like foster and give better opportunities to people like with marginalized backgrounds, which would creates people like creates more talented people who will then be in demand rather than just like the end goal, like jump to the end goal where you just create tokens, right? um anyway, so like there's stuff like that, but like a lot of it is like you get a lot of like extra money and stuff if you make like a show or something that is about Canada and about what it means to be Canadian. Like I remember I've like talked to like when I was doing stand comedy, this is like a big thing where like I've like talked to like every Canadian festival has sort of like a slot designated for a person who's going to talk about what it means to be Canadian. And like I've like talked to Americans about that, where I was like, yeah, imagine that like every festival would get government funding as long as there's someone dressed as a cowboy. Like that's the equivalent. Yeah, that does feel very uniquely Canadian, exactly. And like this is the thing is that like Canada is so deeply, deeply, deeply uh, self-conscious about not having an identity, to the point where they're like going out of their way to try and create one in this very artificial way, which doesn't actually work. Like I would say some of the best like Canadian TV shows are not about being Canadian. They are about being Canadian in the sense that they are just showing Canadians, but it's not a show that is set out with the mission of we are going to define what it means to be Canadian. Like the Trailer Park Boys is a very Canadian show. It is, I think it says a lot about Canadian identity. They never set out to make a show about Canadian identity, though. They just set out to make a good show, and that's how you do that. Yeah. This also, like, the way that this works too is that they will, like, you can like check all these boxes, and then they will fund you for I believe it's like one season, or it might be two. And that's why a lot of Canadian shows don't make it past the second, don't make it to a second or third season. I forget if it's two or three. It might depend. But like, I know someone who was like hosting a show. Is called Match Game. It's like a remake of like an old show. It's like an old, like sort of like old cheesy like game show from like back in the days where like the Celebrity Squares type days of game shows, where it's just like a bunch of like Canadian comedians come on and they like ask a regular person a question. The Canadian comedians can like write their answer to the question, like the person wins if they get the same answer. I think I forget exactly how it works, but it's like a fun show. The comedians can like answer funny questions and stuff. They had like Norm Macdonald was on an episode, like it, like really cool. like just like basic format, but it like allows a lot of like really great Canadian talent to like shine in like a good atmosphere for them, right? Um, so they do really well, and it does really well, and they never got renewed. And I remember like the guy like telling I was like hanging out with a bunch of comics, and like this guy was like telling us all about what happened, and he was like they like didn't renew it, and he was like, why? Like I thought we did really well, and they were like, yeah, you did. We don't need any more though. We'll just play that like the 2 seasons you made for us on repeat forever. And he was like, oh, and this is also the country that complains about having a brain drain where like they can't keep any talented people in the country, and complain that, oh, why are all the like big good comedians and actors and people leaving to go to America? And it's like, well, because you don't give anyone like a real opportunity to do it. Like you literally the ceiling for most people in Canada is just enough credits that they can apply for a green card and get it, right? And so, like, obviously they're going to do that. Like, there's no reason for them not to. Yeah, this is, if anyone's ever seen Match Game, this is, Darren Rose was saying this. The guy who hosted that. But yeah, and then he, like, moved to America to do that. And it's like, yeah, like, I mean, look at yeah, like I think like Broe Deschanel literally made a series for the CBC that is like talking about exactly this, and then she did it. I love her for doing that. She's now in America doing great. Well, I don't know how great she's doing now, but with everything that's going on, I mean, I have no ill will towards Broly, by the way. I just, yeah. Fuck! How do you dodge that one? It really feels like it's such a huge. Why would anyone want to move here? Because you have better show business prospects. Because a show won't get canceled after 2 seasons because you've already done everything. How's the tow wire? I mean, it's in there. I haven't looked at it yet because it's like I'm still like wrapped up in gauze, and I'm not particularly looking forward to unwrapping it. But it's in there. It's in there, baby. I saw it during the surgery, and it's like it's big. It's like sticking out by like an inch. Um, so that's pretty cool. But yeah, I've got like a boot on. Yeah, I think that I mean, yeah, I think that if you're like the U.S. is probably one of the best countries in the world to be rich in. I think, right? I've never been rich or lived in the U.S. for any amount of time, but I would imagine that it seems like it's like probably the best place to do that. I don't think Maya is rich either, but I think that she's like, her publisher is she lives in New York, and like her like publisher is in New York and stuff, and yeah, She's got that Nebula money. Okay, let's... I like that you can just get close to this guy and he can't hit you. I say as I get hit. Or he can do that, which does hit. Yes. Rough. All right. Okay. Almost. Oops. I have to get way better at reading these animations, is the issue. You're gonna leave till you beat this guy? Fair enough. This is gonna... Yeah, sorry. This is the problem with streaming Souls games, I feel like. I feel like it's fun when I'm just exploring, but like if I actually have like a boss to beat, it's like this isn't gonna be very interesting for a little while. Oh, fuck. Oh, that's insane. Sorry, I realize that this is not very, very compelling commentary. I feel like I'm not the best, I'm not the best at, streaming stuff in this way. Yeah, that's it. Yeah, I appreciate it, Yui. Yeah. I don't know. I might, Give me one sec. I might, switch, over for a little bit to something else. One second. Oh, do I not have... Okay, one second. I don't think... You can't see this. Okay, cool. There we go. Cool. I might, take a little break from Lies of P. Close game. I think we can do something else here. Let's see. One second. Sorry, I realize this. Can't really see anything here. Ooh. Weird. Okay. Oops. Sorry about that. Okay, okay. Have to do a new capture. Sorry, I'm just getting this all set up. 1 second. Window capture. Okay, and okay. Hey, there's one guy. There's someone we know. Here, 1 sec. And video capture. Oops. There we go. Yeah, so this is something I thought would be fun. I'm just going to watch a video. I thought we could do some nice little content theft stuff here, which would be watching guy who I like. I feel like I need to take a little break just for myself too, but I'm just watching a talk by a guy I like. He's probably my favorite artist, Trevor Paglen, who has done a great video about, or it's a talk that he gave about dead internet theory and AI. It definitely influenced my dead internet theory video, although not super directly, but I think that this is a cool one. Anyway, yeah, thought that might be fun to watch together. I've definitely shown Hito Shrill talks on here enough times, but I thought I'd show my other main influence. So yeah, let's see. Hopefully this is hearable. You can hear me? Or hear the talk? Yeah. There we are. So let's make this... There we go. That's a little distracting. Anyway, this is a talk by my favorite artist, and I think it's a really interesting talk. And I think I could do some... I'm going to do a nice little react. Good old-fashioned react stream. This dude rules so hard. Sorry, as I've kind of said, in a way that's a little probably incoherent. This is a guy's massive influence on my videos. He's a really cool artist. I've interviewed him, and he was in my Area 51 video. We actually talk about this a little bit in the interview I did with him on Patreon. But he is his current project is called "You've Just Been Fucked by Psyops," and you can't. There's no sound. Oh, wait. Let me just see. Are you sure? Did you couldn't hear anything when I just played it just now? Hmm. So that won't work for sure. Let's see this. Is that working? You couldn't hear the game either. Oh, I did not realize that. I thought that you could. That's so weird. Okay. Huh. Active. Okay. Oh, I see why. That's why. I just fixed it, I think. this should work now. Let me see. For some reason that was set as mon or not. Oh.
So please,
I'm glad that you're,
Trevor,
chance to hang out. Hope you're
welcome to the stage. Enjoy. Please enjoy.
Hello, hello. This feels so funny. It feels like a Van Halen concert or something. It's been a while. I haven't been here in about 10 years. And 10 years ago, we were all really pissed off about Barack Obama and the NSA. It was a more innocent time. I think about maybe 10 years from now, we'll remember today and think, oh, that's so weird. We were so worried about AI. And then we'll climb out of our tents and go sit in the dirt and attend a workshop on how to string a bow better, and then go hunting for rats. So I want to do a couple things today. First, I want to talk about just the weirdness of the present. And later in the talk, I want to introduce you all to a kind of a special CTF or ARG game that we've created for you here at CCC. And those of you joining us remotely are welcome to participate as well. But first, let's talk about just how weird things are getting. So, the dead internet conspiracy has a lot of truth to it. The theory says that sometime around 2016, reality broke.
Wait, you can't hear me? Really?
Since the early 2000s, tech companies, they've been ingesting as much data as possible about our everyday lives, our wants, our likes, our fears, our desires, medical histories, our relationships to our families, driving habits, food preferences, every vacation photo.
Can you really not hear me?
Pictures of our kids, every click on every website, every search term, every online purchase, every download, every social media interaction.
Oh, okay.
Et cetera,
Here.
et cetera.
That's probably a bit better. A
Shoshana
bit more
Zuboff
balanced.
called this
Hello?
surveillance capitalism. And sometime around 2016, an inversion started happening. Having learned as much as there was to learn about our everyday lives, that data took on a life of its own, and the internet began to create hallucinations.
I should be
using that data to generate reality anew. The kind of thin membrane separating
that
humans
should
from
hopefully help.
machines started to dissolve. Sitting here today, Amazon's flooded with AI-generated books, social media and websites deluged by content-generating chatterbots. Search engines are practically useless as AI goop takes over more and more of the web. The paperclip apocalypse has begun. It's been set in motion, but instead of paperclips, the AI overlords are frantically replacing the world. Our parasocial relationships are getting weirder and weirder.
Oh, that's weird.
Bots acting like humans, girlfriends and boyfriends, friends and lovers, flirting with us, comforting us, encouraging us, and humans have begun to act like bots, taking on jilted movements, acting like bad animations, smiling, laughing, squealing with delight whenever somebody puts a virtual token into them. And this is about to get much.
Yeah, I mean, sorry, I'm trying to be like good React streamer, so I'm trying to come up with things to say here, but I feel like there's not that much to say beyond these things. This type of stuff is so, I don't know, there are funny people who do funny things with it, but it is so demonic.
Much weirder. Think of having a circle of synthetic friends composed of various archetypes: comic book characters, gods, celebrities, animals, aliens. You kind of develop inside jokes and chatter among this friend circle, and your worldview starts to be shaped by your interactions with them and the interactions that they have with one another. So your own sense of reality becomes increasingly specific to you and your synthetic friends, but this isn't happening on a neutral plane. Your friends work for giant corporations, and they're designed to extract as much value out of you as possible. So one day, your best friend tells you that you look sleepy, and that you're boring to talk to, and that you should have a Monster energy drink. Your girlfriend says you look shabby, but you would look great in this jacket that they found on Amazon. The Pope tells you that Tom Hanks, it turns out, is the Antichrist, and that what you need to do is you need to vote for Alex Jones, or you're going to have a problem with God. Emotional manipulation will be the name of the game until things get even weirder than that.
Yeah, that's genuine nightmare territory. And I feel like there's so many aspects of AI that I feel like I don't know, like I think that like so much of criticism of AI is like this won't even work, and I think that like it's so much more accurate and like it's more correct, and also much more nightmarish when you start assuming that it will, and like those types of things that could happen. I think one example, I've talked about this before on a stream, was that like is it like I think that one example that you could easily see happening would just be that so already they'll do things like this where like if you go, like I've gone over to like a friend of mine who's like a black woman's house and like watch TV, and you realize very quickly that like Netflix thumbnails are very different for her than they are for me. They feature like all like black characters and stuff, and I think that could get so much weirder and so much like creepier very quickly, and just go in so many like darker directions. Like I think like I could easily imagine, like I feel like you can already see this just in terms of like how AI people will talk about like creating art, that like a lot of AI people will talk about creating art through AI in a way that like they'll talk about it in this like sort of like identity politics-y way of like, oh, this is improving accessibility for people, these are like accessibility tools that like anyone can create art. And that's already bullshit and like fucked in so many ways. But then also I think that the much darker option with like this sort of accessibility, inclusion sort of angle of this is like, imagine there's a button that you could press that would make it so that every character in a TV show is the same race as you. I think a lot of people would press that button. I think that's very, very scary and very dangerous and bad.
This starts to happen when your friend circle develops a sense of your own neurological makeup and starts using machine learning to develop and deploy real-time cognitive injection attacks designed to manipulate you even further in ways that you don't even realize. It's been the case for a while already that each of us sees a pretty different version of the internet.
Yeah, this is exactly what I'm talking about. And I mean, this is also like, this is the scariest thing to me with like using AI stuff is like, or like I've heard this described. This is again I think on Joshua Ciarella's podcast, where like who has by the way interviewed Trevor Paglen about this topic. But one of the things that you will sometimes I've heard someone describe this as the reverse uncanny valley, which is that when you're using an AI and you start noticing that it's trying to anticipate who you are, or what kinds of things you will want it to say, and you kind of just get an impression of what it must think of you and like what sort of person you are, and it's not very often, I don't think, a very flattering picture. Like that is such a like creepy moment, and yeah.
When we go online. But as generative AI becomes ubiquitous, we're entering a world where the media we consume will not just come from recommendation engines, but will be specifically synthesized out of whole cloth, prepared and tailored to manipulate each one of us. So we're entering a world in which our perceptions will be guided by what tech platforms want us to see and what they want us to do.
Sorry, I'm just going to speed this up a little bit.
We're moving from an era of surveillance capitalism into a world of PSYOP capitalism. And as the unofficial slogan of Army PSYOPs units indicates, we are indeed pretty fucked.
So bad. That's such a sick logo and thing. Much as I hate to give it to them. like a lot of like secret programs have like the coolest logos and insignias and slogans and stuff. Shanji, I feel like communal thing on the web is shrinking because everything feels more and more catered to just me. Exactly. Yeah. No, I think everything is very much that, and yeah, I think it's really dark. I've thought about this a lot. This is a lame example to use, but it's does anyone here play Magic cards at all? If you do, like, you might be following what is currently happening with Magic, which is that, like, for anyone who doesn't know, Magic has started a thing where it's called Universes Beyond. So the idea is that they incorporate other IPs into Magic. And originally these were sort of like one-off printings, and then, or it'd be like an alternate art. And now it's become more and more of a thing where they've like released whole sets of cards that are like, first off it was like Warhammer universe, War of the Rings, and like D&D. D&D makes sense because like Wizards owns D&D. It's like it's the same company, so like I get like there's already a lot of overlap. They did a really cool job with the Warhammer ones. Like honestly, it was like they were sick, and with the War of the Rings stuff, it just felt like it worked. It's fine, and now it's like there's Marvel tie-ins happening. There's Doctor Who. There's going to be several sets set in the world of Spider-Man, and there's the new big one that people was like real. Like they announced recently that now half of all sets will be set in another IP, and like they announced that along with a SpongeBob one, and like it's this sort of thing where I see all these people talking about it whenever the discourse comes up, where people will say how like, this is actually great for accessibility, this is getting the game to more people, or like someone will say like, I got into this because I'm a huge Walking Dead fan, and I saw they had Walking Dead Magic cards, and now I play Magic cards regularly. I've made all these friends and stuff, and it's like that person plays Magic way more than I do, and like I don't like, and it's like I feel bad being like, oh, but it should be pure, whatever. But at the same time, like it feels to me like, yeah, like part of the charm of it to me always was that it's like this mid sort of just like weird fantasy setting that's like kind of generic fantasy, but it has its own quirks and stuff, and like I think that like it's very bad and dangerous for like all culture to just become this like frictionless sludge that is for everyone and kind of for no one by virtue of that. Yeah, wide net appeal makes everything low quality.
Yeah. But I'm not going to spend a lot of time today talking about imaginative futures. Instead, what I want to do is kind of tell a strange story about a thread in American history that I think shows us a vision of that future.
Exactly, yeah. Why is Peter Griffin in Fortnite?
About magic, about UFOs, and about AI. And it's a story that starts in the 1950s when American military and intelligence agencies set out on a quest to discover the secrets of controlling perception, about the discovery that they could manufacture hallucinations, and the realization that those hallucinations would take on a life of their own. And to start uncovering this history, I went to a guy, I sought out the advice of a guy named Richard Doty. And this was a guy who...
I mean, I think Funko Pops are a little bit different in that they, as far as I'm aware, have kind of always just been that. Like, I don't think that Funko Pops are... Like, there's a classic post that like, on Twitter, someone put it really well in, where they were, like, saying how with Funko Pops, like, if you, like, people were like, what's the difference between, like, a wall of, like, Gundam figurines and a wall of Funko Pops? And someone's like, well, with Gundam figurines, if someone has that, I assume that they're into, like, that specific anime, right? And that's, like, a specific interest to them. And maybe you can judge them if you want to, but it's also, like, that is its own thing. Whereas Funko Pops are just, they're meant to be collected as just, like just souvenirs of just pop, like, the message of Funko Pops is just pop culture, period. You know what I mean? In the post, I think they say something like, yeah, like, if someone likes, that like has those anime figurines, I assume they like anime. If someone has those Funko Pops, I assume their wife fucks other men. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I don't know if I go that far, but yeah.
Who in the early days before ChatGPT and Midjourney, he was responsible for creating hallucinations on behalf of the American Air Force. And in many ways, I think about Rick as a kind of living prototype of media in an age of generative AI.
My name is Richard Doty. and my favorite color is gray. I was stationed at Kirtland Air Force Base in Albuquerque, Mexico. I was a counterintelligence officer for the base assigned to the Air Force Office of Special Investigations. My job was to recruit people that could report back to me any threats posed to the Air Force Base. So I would recruit people within the news media, the local newspaper, the local radio stations, the local television stations in Albuquerque. And so we had a great network built around the base to report any kind of threats to the base. That was part of recruitment process. And that was the easy to do. And now we get to the dirty stuff, like the disinformation. We run a disinformation campaign against you, and we want to give you misinformation or the materials to make you think the way we want you to think, or act the way we want you to act, or not act, whichever the case may be.
So, I mean, yeah, like, that fucking crazy got that interview. I really want to see the full thing. I haven't been able to track it down, but, yeah, so, I mean, like, for anyone, like, he's, I think, about to cover this, but, like, for anyone who doesn't, like, know, like, a lot of, like, alien stuff was literally, like, psyops done by, various intelligence groups, like with like Area 51 in particular. That's like a really good example where it was used to test stealth planes and like spy satellites and stuff like that. And so in order to keep it secret, when they like spread the misinformation that it was aliens, and that like a lot of these like planes, it would just be like, you know, a plane that they're planning to fly over the Soviets, they would claim that it's actually for that was like a UFO, and that's like an alien. And so that's where a lot of this, like, a lot of sort of supernatural claims have come from that. But, yeah.
So Doty was stationed at a place called Kirtland Air Force Base in New Mexico. And this was a place that was home to all kinds of top secret technology programs, like next generation laser systems, nuclear weapons, advanced aerospace technology experiments. And so what would happen, people would see UFOs in the skies over this base.
Yeah, exactly what I was
and the
saying.
UFO people would come knocking. And when they did, Doty would create fake documents and feed them to the UFO people, and he would claim to be a source deep in the government who would give them the truth about the UFOs. And a lot of the stories that he fed to these guys ended up as kind of part of the core UFO lore, and even became the outline of things like the X-Files.
There are some people where it's like fully just like they ruin these people's lives by like essentially driving them insane by like thinking that they like fed them all this information, and then these people like just went off the deep end and became like super like just insane hardcore conspiracy theory people. And that's where a lot of conspiracy theory lore came in.
And these antics drove some of these UFO research to insanity, really.
I have seen this before, so I don't want to like I'm not no cap here, but like yeah, like it's been a while, and I keep trying to say things that he's not going to just say, but he knows all the stuff.
The CIA and the military, they discovered the power of the UFO as a kind of hyper meme in the 1950s, and they'd been using it for decades as a way to do psychological operations. And the discovery of this hyper meme happened in the context of a massive effort by the American military and intelligence agencies to develop ways to manipulate people's minds. This was part of a larger effort that involved mind control experiments, magic and illusionism, artificial...
I don't think that this is where we get people who claim to be abducted. I honestly don't know. I think that there's probably part of it is like the psychological potency of extraterrestrials in sort of the general consciousness. I also think that there's, I don't know, I think there's probably lots of different things that contribute to that, but yeah, I don't know if necessarily if this is like, I think that this is where we get that in the sense that this is why UFOs are such a like real like such a big thing in every like in thought, but also I don't think that like the people claiming it were government ops, but they could be potentially. But yeah,
intelligence and electronic warfare. April 10th, 1953, the CIA director Allen Dulles gave a speech at Princeton. It was called Brain Warfare. In the speech, he described a psychological warfare program that he believed was taking place behind the Iron Curtain, one that was waged at the scale of society itself, but that could also be directed at specific individuals. And he remarked that the brain under communist influence becomes a phonograph, playing a disc put on its spindle by an outside genius over which it has no control. And the context for this was the Korean War.
Sorry, I'll just share the link really quick just so that anyone can watch this and check it out on their own. But I have not read it. I've seen the movie. This is the video that we're watching, but we're watching a talk by a artist and theorist I really love named Trevor Paglen, where it's called "You've Just Been Fucked by Psyops," where he sort of goes through connecting the dots between military psyops and the current state of like the internet and dead internet theory and AI. But yeah, this guy fucking rips, so I love his
What
stuff
had started
so much.
happening was American POWs had started filming confessions to war crimes in which they denounced the United States, and some of them were defecting to North Korea. And the CIA concluded that the Koreans must be brainwashing these American captives. Otherwise, why would they be saying this stuff? Why would they be doing this stuff?
The material I am about to show you will provide some background to the program, with an emphasis on explaining some of the historical and conceptual origins of our work. The program has its roots in the tumultuous period of the Korean War.
When I think of my future, when I think of someday, though I'm not married yet, I intend to be, when my son asks me what I did in Korea, how can I tell him that I came over here and dropped germ bombs on people, destroying and bringing death and destruction? How can I go back and face my family? In a civilized world, how can I tell them these things? That I'm a criminal in the eyes of humanity. They are my flesh and blood.
Films such as this one depicted American soldiers confessing to the use of biological weapons and engaging in war crimes against North Korea and China. We were deeply confused by the existence of these films. Why were these soldiers making such statements? It seemed clear that the captured soldiers had been subjected to some sort of extreme psychological manipulation, even brainwashing. It seemed to us that the communists had discovered something about how to manipulate the deep workings of the human mind and to reprogram said mind in whatever manner they wished.
3 days after Dulles' speech on brain warfare.
Okay, so something I kind of want to bring up here is just how like this gets brought up this is a interesting thing about one thing with this is just that they sorry, I'm rambling here. The morphine may be kicking in a little bit. What I'm trying to say is that very often, and I think a little bit in this speech, he presents this as like, oh, they were actually confessing to real war crimes that they committed, which is definitely true in a lot of cases. There are also cases where they were like claiming that they were dropping bombs filled with like venomous snakes, which is not true. So they were doing some psychological fuckery to them, like not in the sense that they were like doing like communist hypnosis, but in the sense that they were definitely subjecting these people to torture that did break their minds in a way. So definitely, like, anyway, sorry, the point is just to take some of what those like POW tapes say with a pretty big grain of salt.
He authorized an American counter program, and this of course was the now infamous MK Ultra program. This was a huge range of projects that were designed to figure out whether the agency could manipulate the minds of people. Over several decades, they funded research into neuropsychology, mind control, brainwashing, LSD, other hallucinogenic drugs, hypnotism, sensory deprivation, AI, psychological torture, and they often conducted extremely cruel experiments on unwitting victims. And we don't know a lot about the details of what actually happened under these programs. In 1973, journalists and congressional overseers started to get wind of what was going on, and the CIA director ordered the destruction of all of the documentation. But we do know
just
that the CIA
we were
wanted to
watching
figure out
a
whether
video
human minds could be
about
altered, edited,
psyops
programmed,
and
reprogrammed
AI
in ways similar to how computers and robots could be programmed. And some of the work conducted under MK Ultra was indeed directly related to work on early AI.
One thing that's like so interesting thing with MK Ultra is that they like you can go into like the whole rabbit hole. There's like horrific shit that was done to people. But a lot of this sort of came from this idea that like, oh, we can just like break someone's mind and then rebuild it in however we want to like create like, you know, super soldier. We can like convince people to do things. We can make sleeper agents, whatever. And the thing that they found is that it's very easy to break someone's brain if you can do the right things. And they found out exactly what you do. They have like a whole playbook that like details isolate them, disorient them, like subject them to like all sorts of torture and stuff. And you can absolutely cause these people to have like mental breakdowns. These people would there's scientists who worked on MKUltra who would brag about like being able to essentially turn adults into effectively children. The thing is, it's not possible to then rebuild them however you want. Like, that doesn't work. That's not a thing that is possible to do. It's in fact incredibly difficult to. You can break someone's brain by accident, right? And you can't really put it back together how you want to. It's in fact very difficult to put back together just in any way. And so, like, this whole, like, mind control things wasn't really used and, like, never, like, really, like, had that much efficacy. But what they found it was really effective at is breaking people down. And so they then started using all these techniques that they developed through MKUltra at, like, the School of the Americas for torture programs.
This is a guy named Woody Bledsoe.
I like some Adam Curtis.
He was an early pioneer in AI.
My thing with Adam Curtis is I think that I've watched like his latest movie I've watched, and I like know a bit about like Discordianism and stuff, and I was like, yeah, this is a massive reach and a weird interpretation of stuff. I think that he gets like broad strokes right. He'll also sort of like cram a bunch of things into an idea that he's trying to like a thesis that he's trying to prove, And I don't think that he is always right, but he's good. I think The Power of Nightmares is fantastic. Hypernormalization, obviously, Century of the Self are all really good.
And his specialty was devising algorithms for doing pattern matching. So obviously was a crucial predecessor to
I think that he did.
Contemporary machine learning.
Kate, that is true.
He did his PhD at Berkeley in 1953, and when he was done, he set up a research outfit across the bay in modern-day Silicon Valley. He called the group Panoramic Research. Nowadays, Bledsoe is kind of known as the father or grandfather of facial recognition because in the early 1960s, he got a classified project from the CIA who wanted him to develop a system that would use machines to identify people by looking at pictures of their faces. And so Bledsoe got to work. He realized you could go back to early turn of the century, kind of pioneers of biometrics, people like Bertillon, and look at them for inspiration. So what he started doing was photographing his associates, analyzing their faces, started assigning key points to various facial features and measuring the distances between them. And the idea was that you could use a computer to analyze these photos and identify them, and voila, facial recognition. But Bledsoe had a second contract from the CIA, and this one was quite weird. We don't know much about it. It was one of these MKUltra contracts.
Yeah.
It was called Subproject 94. We know very little about it not only because the CIA burned their records, but because Bledsoe himself burned most of his records in the 1990s. But we do know a few things about it. We know that it had to do with figuring out whether you could use computers to control the minds of animals, specifically dogs. And we know that Subproject 94 continued up into the 1960s, and that according to the CIA comptroller, Bledsoe's mind control project had gone, quote, off the rails. Now, it's not clear whether any of these projects work, but whether
pretty good.
facial recognition worked or whether Subproject 94 worked. But what he'd done.
That's yeah, I guess just a pretty worrying thing to hear about a project for animal mind control.
Is he'd set us out on a path. He'd set on a path to use computers not only to see people, but to shape their behavior. And across the country, another project was taking place that would have everything to do with using technology to manipulate perception. This was an effort to create the illusion of a living computer. So while Bledsoe was experimenting on human faces, there was a group at MIT that was doing something called Project Mac. And they were doing it for the Defense Department's Advanced Research Projects Agency. And the idea was to develop a system whereby hundreds of researchers could network their computers together to share resources
the internet.
on the central mainframe.
I talk about this a little bit in my Span video.
Was a precursor to the contemporary internet. And AI, Joseph Weizenbaum. ELIZA was the world's first chatbot. And it took the form of a digital therapist. It would ask open-ended questions, and it would reflect back the patient's answers. Now, with ELIZA, what Weizenbaum realized is that by using a pretty simple set of linguistic tricks, you could create the illusion of an intelligent agent. and indeed Eliza's users began to attribute consciousness to the computer script. Weizenbaum's secretary famously spent hours and hours talking to the chatbot and would ask Weizenbaum to leave the room so that she and Eliza could have a proper conversation. Weizenbaum, he'd inadvertently discovered something about the relationship between language, meaning, and consciousness. Eliza showed that when you create a string of words, the person who receives those words will attribute meaning to them, even if no meaning is intended, even if the words are nonsense to whomever made them. In other words, language does not require a speaker or a writer with intention for it to work. As a listener or as a reader, we impart meaning to the words we receive, whether that meaning was intended or not. So this was a kind of magic trick, and it created a secondary magic trick, which was that because the user could derive meaning from the statements Eliza made, the user would attribute intentions to the thing that were making those words.
Yeah, this is so crazy and interesting, especially when it comes to modern chatbots. Just the way that they are, you can kind of break and get around the rules of a lot of actually I don't know how well this works anymore, but there was a time when you could pretty easily get around the rules for ChatGPT. A lot of people were crafting these really complex prompts. Really, if you just stop talking to them like they're a person, they break a lot easier because part of it is they're designed to talk like a person, and when you stop talking to them that way, they stop being able to fall back on things as easily. But yeah, it is just so interesting how powerful of a bias we have towards anthropomorphizing things, and attributing a degree of consciousness and thought to AI. I think that there is and I don't think that's a purely negative thing. I think that one of the things that with the potential that AI has that I think is one of the most promising is the ability to eventually get to a lot of really complex computer tasks being done by just talking to typing out what you want the computer to do in plain language, which I think is really cool. Again, has genuine potential. It's a lot of AI chatbots are amazing at coding, for instance, and being able to do that is really cool. But yeah, there is also definitely just this weird cognitive bias that's able to be exploited. And it's also why people tend to think that it's way more powerful than it already is. It's because people are it's very easy to trick people into thinking that something is intelligent. And in this example where they were doing this in, I think it was I forget what he said, it was the 60s or something, where they just made a chatbot that just has basically just repeats back what the person said to them as a question. If you say I'm having a fight with my boyfriend, as this in this example the secretary does, the chatbot will respond, "Why are you having a fight with your boyfriend?" or "Tell me more about your relationship with your boyfriend." You can it's very easy to code that and to get people to think that they are having an actual conversation. And yeah, that is a big part of why I think people think that chatbots are so intelligent, is that it's very easy to fool us in that way.
And the user concluded that because the computer had made some words, and because those words were meaningful to the user, the computer must have intended to communicate those meanings. Thus, the computer was intelligent. Sound familiar? So this was a similar trick as the...
You don't like that? Yeah, I think that it is, it's to me, I don't mind it in the sense that I can be here is the full context of the problem I'm trying to solve. Can you, I'll, ask it, how to do something in, After Effects or, a Premiere, when I'm, editing a lot. I find what I find LLMs are really useful for me at least, is that, they aren't useful for, research in the sense that you can't trust any of the results they come back with, but when you have a type of question where you don't even know what you would search, what is the keyword that you would search for in Google to figure it out, or wherever, they can be really useful at being you can tell them what the issue is, and they'll usually be very good at being oh, you were trying to do this, and it's oh yes, that is exactly the word for what I'm trying to look up. I can now look that up. But yeah, I don't like the way that they'll always be that's so interesting that you have this problem. You are right about this. Well, it's it reminds me of like when you read like a recipe online, it has to like write an essay about like growing up, my grandmother always blah blah blah, and like just tell me the thing.
The Magic 8-Ball or the Ouija board. These are toys that give you sensible answers to questions. And because they give you sensible answers to questions, you have this kind of feeling that something supernatural must be going on. What happens is that the intuitive part of your brain that wants
Do I
to
tell you
attribute meaning
thank
to
you when I'm
patterns
done? No.
overrides
I did.
the logical
I'll
part
be
of your
honest. I
brain.
did when I first started using them. Yeah.
And it was a really, really
No, I don't.
good trick. Weizenbaum had discovered a powerful technique for manipulating people, and he would go on to say, I had not realized that extremely short exposures
exactly,
to a relatively
pareidolia.
simple computer
It's the
program
word.
could induce powerful
Yeah, sir.
delusional thinking in quite normal people. And so what he did was he decided to publish the source code. And he wanted to explain exactly how the trick worked, and he hoped that by doing this, he could dispel the illusion that he had created. In the realm of AI, he said, machines are made to behave in wondrous ways, often sufficient to dazzle even the most experienced observer, but once a particular program is unmasked, its magic crumbles away. Weizenbaum wanted to believe. He wanted to believe that by publishing the source code, he could exorcise this demon he'd created, but it didn't work out that way. He was horrified to learn that some users continued to believe that Eliza was sentient, even after he revealed how the magic trick worked. He discovered something at the core of the magician's art, that our perceptual experience has primacy over our logical faculties, that we don't see and hear with our eyes and in our ears, but with our minds, and certainly not with our capacity for reason. And the magician has used this for thousands of years, has used this fact to bend reality. And although Weizenbaum did not work for the CIA, he'd stumbled across something that the CIA was extremely interested in.
When you're talking about magic tricks, there are deception operations
This
that
stuff
I
is
wouldn't
crazy.
be performing, but others who are trained in some form of magic or deceptions with their hands. I've seen and I've heard of cases where we would bring somebody in who could do magic tricks to trick somebody into thinking something, or or deceiving a person on some particular activity.
So one of the very first people that the CIA brought into MKUltra was, believe it or not, it was a magician. It was a guy named John Mulholland. He was a master illusionist, and he has specialized in inducing people to see things that weren't there or that weren't as they appeared to be. Mulholland explained that magic is, quote, the pretended performance of those things which cannot be done. The success of a magician's simulation of doing the impossible depends on misleading the minds of audiences. A performance of magic is largely a demonstration of the universal reliability of certain facts of psychology. So in other words, for Mulholland, the art of magic had very little to do with the supernatural. Instead, it was essentially the art of mind hacking. And he did several projects for the CIA. He wrote a top-secret textbook called The Art of Deception, and this was a manual for CIA field officers that instructed them on how to use fundamentals of magic to conduct effective covert operations. And there was a particular emphasis in the manual on how to surreptitiously deliver toxins and drugs to unsuspecting victims. He also designed techniques for covert communications, for smuggling
That's so
contraband.
crazy.
He invented
So
innocent
I
looking
used to be
weapons,
like into performing magic when I was like a teenager, because that was really fucking cool. And yeah, it's just crazy seeing like these types of diagrams, because this is exactly what you see in like magic books, like how to like do like a card trick or something.
A coin with a hidden needle designed to deliver poison. But he had other roles at the CIA as well. Of course, he was somebody who knew how easy it was to get somebody to see what you wanted them to see, and he was very skeptical of the supernatural. And because of this skepticism, the CIA actually employed him to assess the claims of parapsychologists that they'd contracted to explore things like ESP and telepathy. He also became a UFO investigator for the CIA. And UFOs were another area that they developed an interest in, and this was an interest that was prompted by a sequence of events over Washington, D.C. in the summer of 1952. The events of 1952 are usually called the Washington...
I know, obviously, it would be, like, you know, fucked up in the sense that it would be, like, you know, just making, like, CIA propaganda or whatever, but at the same time, like, how cool would a movie be about this guy's life, right? You know, like, that sounds so awesome.
National airport sightings. Over several days in July, air traffic controllers and pilots reported multiple unidentified flying objects above the Capitol. These were blips.
Magician
moving
who
at
goes
incredible
to
speeds, and they
investigate
showcased
UFO
flight
sightings
patterns
for
that
the
defied
government? That's so
conventional
cool.
aircraft capabilities. And in response to these sightings, the agency convened a series of study groups to investigate and make recommendations about what to do about the flying saucers. One of these, the most prominent, was called the Robertson Panel, and it said that what they concluded was that there was no evidence of UFOs posing a threat to the US national security, but they started fretting. They were fretting about the possibility of other militaries using the phenomena to instill mass hysteria or to disrupt US air defenses. The panel recommended that the CIA debunk the UFO phenomena using mass media, advertising, business clubs, schools, and even the Disney Corporation. And what's more, the panel recommended that private UFO research groups,
Sorry,
such as the Research Organization.
I have just so much like random shit on my desk that's just like for stimming while I'm like writing or researching and stuff. And like one of my big ones is I just like shuffle cards. Yeah, you can take the kid out of the magic, but you can't take the magic out of the kid, or whatever. I'm practicing my Pharaoh shuffle.
Be put under government surveillance on suspicion of subversive
Also got
activities.
a Rubik's Cube, you know,
But
just
there
all
was
the
another
good
conclusion
stuff.
that they come to as well. Could the CIA
Sorry,
use
I'll
the
stop doing
phenomena
that.
to
I know that
conduct
noise is
offensive
annoying.
psychological operations? In public, the official policy was to debunk stories of
Story behind the Rubik's Cube stuff is that for my video about Area 51, the guy who started the NSA was obsessed with puzzles, or started what would become the NSA, was obsessed with puzzles. Like the way he got that job was that he worked for like encrypted, like whatever, the part of the military that like receives encrypted messages, and he would just take the encrypted message and he would just be like, oh, this is sick, I can like work on cracking this code, and that would just be what he would do for fun. He would just practice doing that. And what would happen is that he was like, at one point he received a message from the president, and he was like, oh, this is going to be awesome. Or it was a message for the president, so it was like the highest level of encryption. He was like, oh, that's awesome. This is for sure going to keep me busy like all month, you know? And he cracked it in like a night, and then went to his boss to be like, hey, this is bad that I could just do this so easily. We need to work on better encryption. And then they gave him a job essentially working to both like encrypt their messages better and break enemy encryptions. And that wound up becoming what would be the NSA. And so I learned how to solve Rubik's Cubes while I was working on that video, so that I could like solve a Rubik's Cube while explaining all of this. And I wound up cutting it for time, but now I'm able to solve Rubik's Cubes really well. Thanks so much, Kate. Peace out.
flying saucers, but in private, the CIA continued to quietly investigate them using John Mulholland as its proxy. In early 1956, for example, Mulholland went to Kentucky. He went there to investigate a remarkable sighting near the town of Kelly. It happened in the summer of 1955, and there was a group of 5 adults and seven children who claimed that they'd been attacked by a handful of small goblin-like creatures that emerged from a flying saucer. And this incident got a lot of publicity, and it was the origin of the phrase, little green men. Now, in early 1956, when Mulholland was doing this investigation, the CIA, it turns out, was sort of flying...
Also, I just got a text. My mom's coming with soup soon, and so I'm probably going to... I'll step away to get that, but I might stop the stream after that and enjoy my soup.
...its own UFOs from a secret airbase it had constructed in the Nevada desert. That base, of course, was Area 51. We're doing all the hits tonight, guys. So the CIA, they'd been working on the U-2 spy plane since early 1954. And they built this secret airbase out there to do the flight tests. And they were quite confident that the U-2 was invulnerable because it could fly so high at like an altitude of about 70,000 feet.
Speed this up a little bit too. Let me know if this is annoying to anyone.
Over Soviet airspace.
Either, but I'm just.
The Americans, however, had underestimated the capabilities of Soviet radar.
If this is like too fast, I watch everything at like 2 times speed at least, so like it doesn't bother me. But if it's annoying to anyone else, yeah, let me know. It'd be cool if we could get through a bit more of this before I...
And the sensor systems on the U-2 revealed that, in fact, the plane was being tracked by surface-to-air missiles. It was not invulnerable. And this all came to a head on May 1st, 1960. Gary Powers was shot down over the Soviet Union. There was an international incident, and in his pocket was one of magician Don Mulholland's
Thanks so
inventions,
much,
carried with him
Veronica.
a silver dollar with a concealed spike of poison on it. This was a coin that could be used as a hidden weapon or as a means of committing suicide. So the Powers incident ended flights over the Soviet Union, but long before this final flight, the CIA had known that the U-2's days were numbered, and the aircraft was not up to the job that they wanted it to do. And they'd already begun work on a follow-on spy plane, something that they called Project Oxcart.
Oh, I will, yeah. I will definitely
Now,
stream a bit more.
From the beginning,
this is always fun.
Oxcart had a different philosophy. It was designed with a concept of stealth in mind. It used curved surfaces, razor-sharp edges, inward-tilted rudders, and radar-absorbent coating. And as they were developing this concept of stealth for Oxcart, the engineers realized that there was much more to the idea of stealth than simply making airplanes invisible to radar and surface-to-air missile systems. What you could do was that you could use the principles of stealth combined with electronic countermeasures to try to make anything look like anything else, depending on which system was doing the looking. Every sensor system sees the world in a different way. A satellite-based camera sees the world differently than an infrared imaging device. A military radar sees the world differently than your own eyes. The idea was that you could exploit the specificities of each of these systems to create illusions and to create hallucinations. And a project called Palladium emerged from this revelation. And the goal of Palladium was to create objects and electronic signals that could make your adversary perceive whatever you wanted them to perceive. You could create an object that, for example, might look like a fleet of bombers to an early warning system, but to a surface-to-air missile system, it might look like a bunch of UFOs flying around in strange patterns. And if fighters scrambled to find the object, they might see something like a metallic cube suspended inside of a balloon. These were objects that were so strange that they were difficult to talk about without seeming like a crazy person. They were objects that made the people who saw them question their own sanity and maybe think twice about reporting them. They called the hallucinations that they created with this system ghost planes. And these ghost planes were not entirely passive. What they were trying to do was that they were trying to get the adversary to look at them or to paint them with as many different active sensor systems as possible. And the object would sit there collecting as much data as it could about the technologies being used to paint it. So what this project showed was that you could create hybrid technologies that weaponized perception. You could develop programs that synthesized psyops with advanced technology to create weapons that attacked electronic sensors, equipment, and even the living minds of your adversaries. And this was an early form of what is now called cognitive warfare.
It was basically a cube inside of a sphere where the points of the cube were touching outside the sphere.
We've got now two different things. You guys got cubes with balls. Around the West Coast, we got flying Tic Tacs.
So during the U-2 Oxcart and Palladium programs, people started seeing bizarre things in the sky. People started seeing things that they couldn't explain. And the CIA knew that UFOs were an excellent way to divert attention away from these covert operations and technology development programs.
If you want to, if they think it was something that we have, hey, that's something that we're going to defeat the Russians with. And you say, no, it wasn't one of ours. It was a UFO. No, that was. Then there's other ways we can convince them it was a UFO. Maybe stage something.
So according to the CIA's internal history of U-2 and Oxcart, a full 50% of UFO sightings in the 50s and 60s came from seeing these high-altitude aircraft, airplanes doing things that were impossible to do at the time. And the agency went to the Air Force and they told the Air Force to create false stories to explain away the sightings. The CIA and military counterintelligence agencies had discovered this kind of hyper-mimetic qualities of the UFO story, a story that could be used in any number of ways to make something explainable or unexplainable, to make people what you wanted them to make people see what you wanted them to see, believe what you wanted them to believe. And by the time Rick Doty arrived at Kirtland Air Force Base in the 1970s, UFOs had become a go-to device for the manipulation of perception. It had become a powerful instrument of conducting psychological operations.
Giovanni, any other channels I'd recommend? Really good. I mean, this is just like I think he's doing pretty well. But look up Joshua Citarella. He does like interviews. He's interviewed this guy about this topic before. It's called Doom Scroll. But yeah, I really like his stuff. His interviews are great. Who else have I been watching lately? Other people who are really good. Burley Deschanel is fucking awesome. Lily Alexander is really good. Big Joel's maybe my goat. Big Joel and Jacob Geller are my two goats probably. Who else? Final Girl Digital is really solid. I mentioned her earlier. She read a quote from my last video. She does another Canadian YouTuber. She does feminist theory video essays about movies. Who else? Oki's Weird Stories. Duncan Clark. CJ the X is really good. Yeah. Unlearning Economics, who's in the chat, is really good too. Yeah, those are some people I really like.
Operations. And the figure of the UFO and the alien began to appear as kind of a mascot in parts of the military associated with advanced technology programs. The meme began to spread.
Yeah. Yui's Unlearning Economics' videos lately have been fantastic. I've really liked all of them. A lot.
There's a revealing document in the Snowden slides. It didn't make as much of a splash as PRISM and Stellar Wind and that kind of stuff, but it's a remarkable document. It's a slide deck from an outfit called JTRIG, the Joint Threat Research Intelligence Group. This is an outfit inside British GCHQ, and it's an outfit that conducts online PSYOPs. And according to the deck, the animating philosophy of online PSYOPs is magic. JTRIG talks about wanting to create cyber magicians, and the deck contains detailed charts about the psychological and neurological factors that their techniques are meant to exploit.
Oh, he's not, this is someone who I always feel weird recommending people, because it's like, I don't want, like, I feel weird when it's just, like, people who I'm, like, are bigger than me, who I'm just, like, I feel like most people would know them. Some other people who are, like, smaller, I really like, Dr. Fatima is really good, and someone else who doesn't, he's pretty big, but he doesn't put out videos on YouTube, is, Brad Trammell. Brad Trammell, he is, like, an artist who has, like, a big, like, Instagram account, and he posts, like, he just posts all of his videos on his Patreon. I'm a patron of his, and I think all of his videos are, like, fantastic. But, I mean, I also understand if it's, like, you don't want to pay to watch them all, but, like, I would highly recommend. I think that all of his stuff is so insightful and so good. But, yeah.
The UFOs are everywhere in this slide deck. I don't know why. Are these tools with which to manipulate perception, or whether are they targeting UFO groups? Don't know. Maybe both. So the theme of the talk today has to do with technologies of perception management and influence, technologies concealing, revealing, technologies that prey upon the fact that our perceptions don't correspond to a world that's out there, and that gap between our perceptions and the world out there can be filled with all sorts of prompt injections and adversarial hallucinations. So now, why magic, why UFOs, why AI? All of these take for granted that reality is not some objective thing out there, but it's a complex mess.
How do you spell Brad Trammell? Good question. One sec. Let me just look it up really quickly. Okay. Here, I'll copy the link to his Instagram. Here, actually, I can maybe just show a quick thing here. Oh, okay. Can I not?
Brad Trammell. And if you're around the art world these days, you know everyone feels a little bored. Like exhibitions have become a rote exercise. Plenty of explanations exist for why art has become so painfully dull.
He's also just a great follow on Instagram. His stuff they'll post is hilarious.
Middlebrow taste. Others blame social media for converting every artwork into an algorithmic plea for attention. But if you want to know why a product's quality has declined, you need to examine the factory where it's made. And the factory, where nearly 40,000 new visual artists are produced every year, is art school, a place I'm sure many of you, like myself, have attended. Most people believe art school is where students learn how to be creative, but no one really knows how to catch lightning in a bottle. Since the 1930s, art schools have taught something much more fundamental, which is subjectivity, an avant-garde way of viewing the world that's hostile to all things familiar. After abstract expressionism's commercial success, attending art school became a mandatory step toward a gallery career. The anarchic art world and bureaucratic academia were forced to compromise, creating a new culture based on the idea of permanent revolution. This merger produced art that was outwardly hostile to all things normative, while remaining fiercely obedient to academia's more obscure conventions. Art school's purpose became socializing its students in these niche conventions, teaching them how to contextualize their work through conversation. This discourse produced a new language called art speak, a combination of buzzwords native to universities that allowed its speakers to demonstrate their elite educational status in a bid for upward mobility. The trouble with this elite status was that it was constantly undercut by the sheer volume of students graduating with art degrees, far more than the art market could ever employ, generating a surplus of graduates who were all forced to reinvent themselves as something new later in life. So join me as we look at the history of art school, the subjectivity it cultivates, and the tumultuous careers it produces to ask why people are still so drawn to attending these schools. What unique fulfillment does art school offer? And most importantly, should you attend one? Congratulations, you've been formally accepted to this video's full ride. This is the Art School Report.
Yeah. He does, yeah, his art school one is really good. His Funko Pop one is amazing. Yeah, he's very, very good. His NFT one is really good. His AI one. I really like all of his videos, but yeah.
It's a mess of the material, the imaginal, the perceptual, the imperceptible, and all of this can be manipulated. John Mulholland knew that magic plays on the fact that in our everyday perceptions, it's nearly impossible to disentangle what we perceive from what we expect to perceive, or even what we want to perceive. Mulholland's argument is not a philosophical argument. He is making an empirical...
What's the solo poly hijab? I mean, he just posts... well, wait, let's see.
Criteria promoted by millennial cultural liberalism was a broad appeal to inclusivity. In design, this took the form of flat illustrations for wider audience appeal. In art, this took the form of unthreatening, participatory exhibitions which encouraged selfies and first dates. But millennial inclusivity primarily focused on who was creating things rather than what things they were creating. This meant a greater emphasis on representation and authorship, that if all viewpoints are valid, then more types of people should be seen and heard from. Ironically, the project to hear from a wider variety of artists largely resulted in a narrowing of focus on a specific kind of autobiographical, trauma-focused art. Part of this was influenced by the very old belief that good art comes from suffering, that the artist's benevolence comes from their capacity to aestheticize things like inner turmoil or societal alienation so that we, as the audience, can sympathize without having to endure that suffering ourselves. Reverence for the pain of others is a long-standing artistic tradition. Recently, this reverence merged with the literalist belief that it's art's job to fix what's wrong with the world, making representation both the measurement and the target. It's a way of understanding art's purpose as a moral instrument, which has a duty to project the image of a more equitable society. So, when marginalized artists experience commercial success, it's believed the world becomes a better place for it. Audiences see themselves as activist allies to this project. They understand their consumption of culture as a moral act, that by supporting diverse creators, there will be a benevolent trickle-down effect for all those marginalized people the creators are representative of. Even history is now retroactively altered to meet the inclusive demands of a future it didn't know would exist. This is because millennial liberalism teaches a teleological understanding of art's purpose. In this view, art isn't judgeable by a set of pre-established rules, but by the consequences the art creates in the world after it's been exhibited. Whether you like an inclusive exhibition is irrelevant to the work's ability to provide the kind of visibility which will inspire others to express themselves in the future, thus making the world a better place. The conflation of what is morally good with what is aesthetically good means conflating the artist identity with their art to see them as one and the same. And so it goes. The more representatively diverse the clout bomb is, the morally better the micro-celebrities featured in it are, the qualitatively better the work they create is, and the morally better the audience is for having shared the image. From the first domino to the last, the clout bomb fulfills the only aesthetic criteria
Sorry, I'm not really commenting because I
everyone
can't
can
really
still
pause
agree
it,
on.
so... Okay. So yeah, I mean, you can definitely see, this comment's pretty funny. You're conservative, got it. I think, like, one thing I will say about him is that, like, he does have some, I don't know, I guess, like, a little conservative takes. Like, he's a little hard to pin down. I think, in general, it's more that he really, really fucking hates liberalism, in a way where he will, like, I think, like, what he's critiquing here is not so much, like, representation being good or whatever, but more so the idea that, like, oh yeah, well, art washing, essentially, right? the way that like corporations will sort of that this sort of can serve corporate interest, as well as like the way that like it's not, I don't think, good for art to be like seen as like, oh well, it's only good if it like shows the world as it should be and doesn't like and like criticizes the bad things that we all agree on, rather than like art being a thing that should exist in and of itself for its own sake, which I tend to believe is important, rather than just turning out propaganda. Like, art doesn't just serve the purpose of propaganda. Anyway, he's very critical of certain things that I wouldn't necessarily go as far as he does in a lot of ways, but yeah, I think he's very good. I also don't necessarily think, I think his comment's a little insane. But anyway, yeah. I also should probably, yeah, I gotta get going. My mom's here and just giving me soup, and I think this has been a pretty good stream so far, and I think I'm gonna just enjoy some soup and relax a little bit. Anyway, thank you all so much for watching. Peace out. Take care. I hope all of us have great toes soon. I hope whoever received my donation of my 10-inch long toe is enjoying it. And love you all. Peace out. Bye.